You almost have to buy a new one, huh?
Yeah.
You need to unplug it.
Or if you're gonna, back up and piece of equipment and weld a piece of equipment, you gotta disconnect everything from your tractor because
Welcome and thank you for choosing freeconferencecall.com. You're helping people around the world communicate for free. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. If you are the host, press star now. Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. Thank you. There are 3 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Shanna Brost.
Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are social distancing by?
Yes.
No, he's sick. He's been,
You're on the agenda today, or?
Yeah,
he's been sick for a few years already.
I've been sick for a couple of years, so that.
Not feeling good for a long time.
Didn't everybody get a copy of them?
It was not correct. Yes, you did. You did a good job of getting a copy to everybody.
Dawn,
What I
Granite.
asked in there was not correct. We can,
Or I might have to be in Hazen by 1 o'clock.
we should be able to walk through this pretty fast today. I don't see anything that's gonna be heavy discussion.
If we start now, we might make it.
It just flipped. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order, please. First thing to do today is to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I have an addition.
Yep.
Can I add COVID on there?
Absolutely, then I'll cross my request off.
Who is that?
COVID-19.
Okay.
And I would like to add Mark Ziegler approach.
Do you want that under road?
Yes, under road, because Ken might be on the deal then.
Hold on.
He's not on there, road isn't on there that I see it.
Hang on a second. He must have got, he is on there at 10. Quote for right-of-way tree removal and township mileage certification. Oh, I deleted, okay.
We have
Yes.
time to go make a copy.
Okay,
Let's
but
just,
this isn't, it's not quite right, but we'll just combine the two of them.
okay.
It's on this one.
Here.
Yeah,
You have that one?
yes, ma'am. Oops.
I'm losing support.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just help me out as we walk through this so we follow it.
Okay, so 10 o'clock we'll do Mark Ziegler
Yes.
approach.
Are there any other additions or corrections to the agenda?
I would like to add we received an invitation. I would like to discuss the invitation we've received from Pick City.
Pick City invitation? Okay, I'll put it under other business.
And sheriff's involvement in the riots in Bismarck and Dickinson. Are we doing any discussion of the budget calendar? If not, I'd like that added.
left, so I can't see if there's anything else to add.
Dan? This is,
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
no, you can exchange those chairs around.
We have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Merlin, are you online?
Are we on mute?
Good morning, everybody. The meeting has been called to order. We have made some additions to the agenda. We added COVID-19, Mark Ziegler approach, Pick City invitation, sheriff riot involvement, and budget calendar to the agenda. We have a motion to accept the agenda as amended, and a second. Is there any further discussion?
You have a second, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Merlin, are you online?
I'm online. I didn't get all of those. I didn't know you guys had made a motion and everything already, because I just heard you now.
Well, we don't, I did, the phone was not turned on. It's right in front of me. The mic button was not pushed. So that's why you missed that. That's my error.
Okay, that's the technology. That's okay. I understand how you work with that.
Okay, is there anything you want to add or change?
Well, I hear that as far as the agenda, we had COVID on there and the approach. Pick City had something to go, and then riot involvement. Those four things.
COVID-19, Mark Ziegler approach, Pick City invitation, sheriff riot involvement, and the budget calendar. You get those?
Yes, I did.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and in a second. Is there any further discussion? I didn't write down who made the motion. Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne,
How about aye?
Dwight,
Aye.
Merlin,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion passed. Next on the agenda is to approve minutes of May 20. I sent a letter to the auditor asking her to send it out. If she did, we have a copy of it. I'm going to ask you guys to, at this time, disregard that. The reason I also provided everybody today with a different revision. The reason I changed it is I reviewed the meeting audio, and the first letter I had did not have the correct words. The handout that I gave you today has the exact words of the motion, and Shanna read them back to us before we voted. So that's why I gave you another one this morning. So,
There's another one compared to what we've had before.
the one that I emailed you with the red highlighting, do you have that one in front of you? Shanna sent it to you.
Yes, okay.
Okay, that one was used with words as I recalled. The one I handed out today is the one that actually has a voice recording of the motion that was read back to us. And I don't want to add anything, I just want to include what was there. The difference, Merlin, I'm going to read the very first paragraph that was in red there. Do you have a copy, Dan? Merlin, the very first paragraph should read, Berger moved to accept the revised minutes of Chairman Schwer and to add the bad battery be replaced as soon as possible and another inspection be performed by October 15, 2020. And that is an actual recording, and I actually have a copy here if we want to play it. Shanna did read that motion back to us before we voted, so that's why I added it.
Ted Grimm.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the May 20 minutes as revised.
So moved.
Per Marv's handout, June 3rd.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Merlin. We have a motion to approve the minutes of May 20, 2020, per Marv Schwer's handout, June 20th. Is there a second?
I will second it for discussion purposes.
Is there any discussion?
I think we need to, on Darby's part of it, that second paragraph, change the word savings
I
from.
can't hear anything except the chairman.
That is correct, and we apologize for that. And we're going to try to correct that today, as we get farther in a minute. With this COVID-19, the way we have our phone system, it's very difficult to hear with the 6-foot separation. And we apologize. I will try to repeat what he says for your information. Go ahead, Dwight.
I would like to change from savings to the Bank of North Dakota checking account. It's not a savings account, it's our secondary bank, checking account,
Bank of North Dakota?
our Bank of North Dakota checking account.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Do we need that in another motion, or?
Yes, we will.
Because I agree with Dwight, it's just that I don't know if we need him to make a motion.
We haven't voted on the first.
So can we add that or not?
If Merlin
We
and
have to,
Dwight agree.
we have to withdraw the first motion and make a new motion, or else do it in two.
Just, Merlin, are you okay with withdrawing?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
So, you
No.
want to
Can't hear
read
very good, Shanna.
Oh.
minutes as of May 2020 as revised per Marv's handout on June 3rd, changing, hold on, what paragraph is that in?
It's right under that.
Second paragraph, savings to checking, to Bank of North Dakota checking account.
okay. I want you to say it so they can hear it.
Okay. Minutes as of May 20, 2020 as revised per Marv's handout. Or why don't we just make the revision on the handout and then, why don't we just say that we're gonna strike the word savings and put Bank of North Dakota checking account and then make a motion as
The same
corrected?
motion would work.
Then you wouldn't have to have it all
Right.
mumble jumbled.
Okay, Merlin, what we're going to do, in the second paragraph, the word savings is going to be crossed out, and we are going to add Bank of North Dakota checking account. Now, your original motion would still be okay, but you have to restate it.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes of the May 20th meeting with that change in that paragraph to show that instead of savings, it's Bank of North Dakota checking account. I'm happy to do that as part of my motion.
So, I'm gonna let Shanna read it back to us. She can maybe say it in fewer words.
I didn't get any of that.
Eric Ernest?
Can we
Shanna's gonna read the motion.
approve the minutes of May 2020? Hold on, let's, approve the minutes of May 2020 per Marv's handout on June 3rd as revised.
Yes. Merlin, the motion reads this. Approve the minutes of May 20, 2020, per Marv Schwer's handout, June 3rd, with corrections.
That'll be fine.
And I can sign this and hand it to Shanna, so this is what we actually used. Is there a second?
I'll still second it.
Okay. So we have a motion to accept and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Well, people need to understand that our Bank of North Dakota checking account is our secondary checking account. We use the money in Union State Bank first, but when that's running low or needs replenishment, we take it from the Bank of North Dakota.
Dwight, for those who did not hear, Dwight just explained that we have a regular bank, Union State Bank, we pay all of our bills out of. However, we have another checking account from the Bank of North Dakota that we can transfer into Union State Bank, so it also is a checking account. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
And the reason being Union State Bank is can only cover so much money from us.
okay. Okay, we haven't voted yet, have we? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
And I vote aye. Motion passed. I will give my copy, which is signed and dated, to Shanna.
Well,
I have one more thing on this minutes.
This is, okay, Dwight, on approving these minutes? Have to do with approving? Okay, we've already approved these, so.
Yep,
We'll
yep.
move down and talk about minutes later. Next on the agenda is to review and to pay the bills. And we have all agreed that the bills would be present if we want to pull out certain invoices under question, and they are here. And we have a handout with everything listed that we had for review, and Shanna also emails this to us in advance. There are some additions as bills come in, but we did receive an email for our review. Do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's bills?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have, the treasurer's bills are $27.11.
plus 1084.
Oh, plus 1084 that got added on the bottom. As I tried to explain, that those are ones that were added. So, we have a motion and accept it. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
in looking at our website for the county, I see that this exact same type of spreadsheet used to be listed on our website here under the government area. I was wondering if we can start doing that and putting those on there. Since we're having it for our meeting, it shouldn't be too bad to just list them on there, and then the public can take a look at them that way as well.
It's a possibility, and Shanna will, she's nodded yes, that we will look at that.
Okay, because in looking at the website, it appears the same thing that we're getting here, and it used to be listed on there, but I would think for transparency, that probably wouldn't hurt to have that on there.
I agree, it's a good idea. Okay, we have a motion, is there any further discussion?
I didn't hear what Merlin said.
Merlin said that he would like these posted on our website, they used to be, and he'd like to see if they could be posted on there again. So, is there any further discussion? Dwayne, how do you vote?
I'll vote aye.
I got your names crossed.
Oh.
Dwayne, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wait.
No, this is on the
Motion
treasure.
was for treasurer bills.
The-
Treasurer's bills, yes.
Dwayne can't vote on those.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Thank
Dwayne
you.
said aye.
Aye.
Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Is there a motion to accept the regular bills?
Not yet, I got some questions.
Well, that would be a discussion.
And then we go back and end up rescinding the motion because we have discussion and decided one of them
Right.
shouldn't be in there.
Go ahead.
We gotta do this, to me, a little bit different. We should have a discussion first, then make our motion, then we wouldn't end up going back, rescinding our motion and starting over.
Heard you.
I have one
I
about,
think that would be, well, out of order.
what did he say?
We're gonna have, Merlin, we're having some discussion about the bills.
Right, but I think what Dwight was saying is that what we need to do is discuss the bills and then make the motion. I think according to normal order of meeting operation, you make your motion and then you do your discussion.
You are correct, Merlin, to the letter of the law. In small group meetings, as I read it, you can have discussion prior to. But we will have discussion after the second of, if the motion's made. So Dwight has some valid points, well, we'll go with what he has to say.
Okay, the first one I have questions about is number 15, DJ Body Shop.
Yep.
Why is that been turned into insurance?
Yep, actually, we got the check for the full amount from
Okay.
insurance, so then now we have to pay them. We turn it into insurance, she cuts us a
Okay.
check for the amount minus our $100 deductible or whatever.
And another question I have is this the body shop we always use? Is there a reason why we go to Bismarck for our body work when we have body shops in Mercer County?
That I don't know.
Okay, the second question is on this fridge over in the sheriff's department. We got another bill for it, again. If this is the same piece of equipment,
Which item number is it?
it's number 22.
Thank you.
Is this the same piece of equipment that we've had problems with, or is that a different piece of equipment?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't
Is
know.
Jim Albers on the line?
Jim Elbers, are you online?
Merlin know anything about it?
Mr. Chairman, I think Jim will be on in a little while.
Okay, do you know anything about repair of the refrigerator in the jail?
Not that I know.
Because the bill is for $500. The question is this the same one that we had problems with before?
Well, I know before it was leaking Freon and stuff, not chilling, so. Because there was a little hole or something in the line, I think we got that fixed.
And it is over $500, and I thought we put that back in effect, that if it was over $500,
We,
It's less than 500.
yeah, and we didn't. And I think it was the oven that got fixed,
this time?
not the fridge, yeah.
No, it says fridge
I
on the,
know, but I think it was the oven,
it looks like it should be the oven to me too.
yeah.
This is a kind of a different vendor that's,
I haven't heard of a Hobart fridge. Any further?
I guess that's all I can see for right now. If we get these in our packet, that'll help, but we never get the additionals, beforehand, so you don't really have time to go through the additionals.
I had it on my list to email you guys yesterday and I
Okay.
didn't get it, but
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
the regular bills are in the amount of $55,156.45.
156?
Yep, $55,156.45.
So the number on the bottom, that
That's
includes.
just minus the
I'm
treasurer's.
sorry.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Merlin. Any discussion? I have one. Item 42. I just need someone to explain, Item 42 is for a little over 28 grand, interstate engineering. Is this a one-time bill for the year, or how does that work?
No, I'd assume it's for a project
I'm guessing it's for that overlay that we are doing,
that we bid out, yeah.
is what I'm guessing.
Ken, are you online?
I think Eric is.
Eric, are you online?
Yes, I'm online.
Okay, we received a bill from, probably from your company for 28.5. Can you help explain that?
Yes, which project number was it for?
This says engineering services.
Hold on.
Should be a project number listed on it?
Yeah, he's looking for the invoice.
We're looking for the invoice now.
Okay.
Man, you would think a number that large, you'd have that in the top of your head right there, wouldn't you?
That's a small one for them.
I submitted a few invoices, so I'm
Wow.
not quite sure.
You probably better do one at a time.
This is
Yeah.
the one we
And
rejected
that's the
too.
cheapest one.
This is the project we rejected too, that's probably included.
This is the cheaper one.
Okay, we're looking for the invoice.
Okay.
It was for 28,583.96.
I'm fairly confident that's the one for the Mercer, that's for the 26 overlay for the DOT job. Let me look here quick.
Do you want me to look?
If you can't find it, I can find it maybe.
Well, it could be a race if you wanna find it.
I don't know what
It
you
should be
put.
in,
Are
should
they
be in
all in
alpha.
All of them, even the additional ones?
Yeah.
Okay, then I missed it. It's right after the,
Shanna's looking for it too. We've got the invoices here.
I thought they were, because
Okay.
it was additional. Should be somewhere between Hobart and language.
Yeah.
Page.
There it is.
Is there a project number listed with that?
Yes, B 200, 306, project number.
That's part of it. That's,
Okay, so that's for our general engineering, that's not the right one though, because the invoices that I submitted for that project number was 11,678.
yep, and then this one is for design and construction of the Hazen Bay Road.
And what is the total?
Yep, that's for the design, that's for design for Hazen Bay Road, so that got us up to the design, got us up through the bid opening, and now that will end until we rebid that project, because you guys rejected the bids on that one.
How much was the amount for the Hazen Bay Road?
There's 3 invoices there, isn't there, Dwight?
And the
On the
total,
claim
the
voucher?
total is 28?
12.9.
I don't even think that I billed for that one before, so that was total design and all the bid opening paperwork and stuff like that.
Eric,
Cook has entered the meeting.
Eric said there was a B11 or B211. There's no B211 on these invoices.
Well, those 3 that are on the back page, those are the 3 projects, or the 3 thing on the plate, those are the 3 invoices. Isn't there
Did
3?
you add them all up,
Yeah,
Shannon?
yeah, that, it's all added, because we just pay you 1 check.
Okay, I'm kinda confused on the 28,000, yeah.
Yeah, it's 3 smaller ones.
Okay, the 40717 is miscellaneous engineering services. 40716 is for Hazen Bay overlay. And 40715 is design and construction services for County 26 overlay.
Correct.
Dave, Sebastian.
Good morning, Dave. We were just approving bills at this point. Is there any further discussion on the bills? Okay, we have a motion and accept and a second. Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. We have 3 minutes here. I don't know if anything that's gonna take 3 minutes. Gotta wait for budget calendars.
Pick city invitation.
Now, let's talk about the Pick City invitation, please. Good choice, I was gonna do one other one, but that was it. That'll work.
Did we all get that in our packet, Shanna?
Yep.
It asks if we want to have a booth. I don't think that we could find somebody to take care of a booth, but I plan on attending. And I would think that somewhere in our budget calendar, we need to have a slot for these parks and notify all the parks in the county that we are having budget hearings and allow a slot for if any of them want to come in. And
But doesn't the P and Z ordinance have specific dates as to when they apply and when you guys award?
Yes.
well, yeah, it's got to be before budget hearing.
But we're not putting money in the budget for it, it's just what's ever in the in lieu of account.
Right, but there's money in there.
That's a whole separate process adopted to that ordinance.
Well, how are we going to let, I figured it would be a way to let people know
We have-
that there is money
we'll
available.
notify them, whatever the ordinance set forth in the P and Z ordinance, during that time frame, we'll notify them. We'll send them a letter from the board stating this is their open time to apply by this date, and then the board's gonna award on this date.
Okay, before I go to this, I would like to know what is available
Okay.
as of June 20th.
Okay,
Any further discussion on the Pick City invitation?
Can you bring me up to
June
speed on
20th.
that? I didn't get anything on it, putting in today.
Dwight asked if we could notify the boards of monies that may be available before this picnic. He's going to attend, and he would let them know. We also discussed that this is part of the ordinance for, in lieu of accounts for the parks, and they would be taken care of. I'm summarizing, so anybody can step in and say, that's not what I said, so.
It's picnic, not Pick City.
That was for the Pick City picnic invitation, it was in our packet.
Okay, well, it wasn't in mine.
Newly
That's
hopped,
okay.
a great excavating.
Good morning, Newly.
Morning.
Okay, there will be no further discussion on Pick City invitation, we'll move on to Cindy Zuber.
Okay, the first zoning case 5073 is an application to amend the ordinance, and during P and Z, you guys had waived the,
Can anybody hear what Cindy's saying?
No.
I didn't think so. I'm gonna ask her to come up and be closer to the microphone.
Martin, let him maybe turn the phone a little bit more sideways, so it is not just on you.
There you go.
okay, zoning case 5073, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, is, ordinance amendment, a resolution to amend the ordinance, it's for all the stuff that the water board had recommended, and at P and Z, they made a motion to, waive the reading of that whole thing, so I don't know if you wanna do that again.
We don't need to read, just go on with your information, we'll see if we need to read it.
Well, that's all I have, I mean, if
Oh.
I don't read it, then I don't.
It's the 2 pages.
You remember you were gonna waive to read it since the information was given out?
The information was given out to all the planning and zone members. We waived at that meeting not to read all that because all of us had it in front of us and there was a lot of pages.
And the commission has it all.
And the commission also has it. Give us I'm gonna ask Cindy to try to give us the gist of that.
I mean, the only change that was made was Commissioner Schwer during the P and Z meeting asked to have 7 copies provided instead of 6. That would be the only change that was made during P and Z. Remember, for the
Right.
copies to the, but I mean, I don't know how to summarize all these changes that they made. I don't know. There's 17 pages of it. I don't know how to summarize it.
This is Mark Caper on the line. If you guys would like, I think we've got some people for the Water Resource Board that could maybe provide a little bit of a summary as well.
I would appreciate that. Please do so. And identify
Okay.
yourselves.
Jennifer Malloy, are you on by chance?
I am.
Maybe this would be a good one for you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I can kind of go through and summarize, I guess, what the Water Board is proposing in the ordinance. And this is, really to cover stormwater issues or things that might come up during a platting process or during the construction process. I'm actually going to start, I'll start with, I guess, chapter 6 first. Which is your subdivision regulations. And the reason I'm doing that is it's kind of a part of the stepping process of how this, I guess, came to light and came to be. Really, we just added to the existing process within the subdivision regulations. You'll see, I'm hoping the copy you have in front of you, we have the red would be the addition that's added to the existing chapter 6. You already have a pre-application procedure, so in that pre-application procedure, we just added another item, line D, to just have that applicant start thinking about their surface water on their site. So nothing too hard, something that you can't just go on Google Earth and look at, but just identifying your water courses, if you have swamp areas or designated wetlands, things like that. And that would then go into the pre-application, which is sent to your land use administrator, and then if at that time they feel that there's need for more information, then that would kick it into when they do the conditional approval of the preliminary plat. Kind of that same concept, we added information within that existing step within your procedure. With that, we will actually have a checklist. So we have identified kind of a draft checklist at this point. It has not been included in your packet, kind of a work in progress. Once this is approved, we'll have a checklist. But that checklist will follow section D under the procedure for conditional approval of preliminary plat. And it's just asking for those particular items. Again, just having that individual start considering what is going on that site in their existing and proposed conditions. And at that time, then the board, P&Z, would have a chance to review that application and kind of review the maps and either ask for additional information. Then they potentially could say, this is the last step you need to make. Your site is small, or it shouldn't have much impact to the adjacent sites, or whatever your development may be. Or at that time, it can take you into a stormwater management plan, which would then be part of your conditional approval, or I guess your approval of your final plat. So then under the approval of the final plat, you would then follow the stormwater management plan procedure, which is outlined in chapter 2. And then that would be just, in that chapter 2, we talk about the purpose of why we're doing this, really, just to help adjacent properties, to improve the health and safety of the adjacent lands, and just to make sure we're controlling any additional discharges that development may be making. That would more than likely come with some sort of a report, and then also some maps identifying, if you have control structures or a detention facility, what that flow rate looks like. We've got in there some criteria. It's called pre-post criteria. That is an extremely industry standard used across the state. So I would say any engineering firm that would see that criteria is pretty normal criteria for this kind of application. We did add a little bit of items that I think just to highlight beyond the stormwater management plan portion. One would being, just requiring easements if you do have stormwater facilities, not within a right-of-way, or having an easement that would say hold a 100-year event if you're within a floodplain. We also added, just that any culverts being designed need to follow the Chapter 8914 of the North Dakota Administrative Code. Again, you would more than likely have to do that anyway, but now it's in your ordinance. Then there are also just we had like a minimum size of culvert that would need to be identified. We had typed in 18. I believe the county has had a chance to review. I did not hear any comments that the minimum size of an 18 was an issue, but that can always be addressed here today. I guess I would say that is the gist of it, or of synopsis. Is there any questions or concerns?
Thank you very much, Jennifer.
I'll make a motion to adopt case 5074 stormwater management plan to the ordinance.
We're on 73, aren't we?
73.
5073.
3, according to mine.
Yeah, you said 4 though. So your motion reads to adopt zoning ordinance 5073?
Mine are 7.2 and 7.3. It says 7.3 and 7.4 on there, but
Oh, sorry,
What are they?
7.3 and 7.4.
Okay. So, here we have a motion to accept resolution 5073. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question about the change to the 7 copies. The planning and zoning is a 9-member board, so I was just.
7.
The 7, it was to provide 6 copies and now it's 7, and I guess either number confuses me because it's a 9-member board. So,
I always thought it was a 7-member, that's all that ever shows up is 7 members.
right, but it's, we were
We're
6.
one member short and Boyko never comes.
Right,
Do
but
we-
it's under.
What would you recommend?
Well, I don't know if we need that many or if one copy to Cindy, cause she gets it to everybody, so if you just wanna make, but it's the copies and the drawings, and so that's where, depending on what those drawings are, we may want the applicant to be in charge of them, but you may wanna make it 10 copies so that it's every member of the board and Cindy, and then if she, in talking with the applicant can address that, but that would address every member of the board and land use administrator.
Thank you.
Yep.
We would need.
Can you repeat that? Just so I have it in my notes, Mr. Chairman?
State's attorney recommends that we have 10 copies. There's a 9-member board and then Cindy needs a copy.
Okay, sounds good. And just with the different discussions we had at PMZ, and I guess this discussion today, I'm wondering if it's even worth having in there that a digital copy to be submitted as well. Have it in the ordinance that way.
I didn't hear what she
A
said.
digital copy?
Oh, a digital copy, absolutely. I thought you said additional. But if you want to include a digital copy as well, that would be very nice.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay, we would need to, let's retract the motion and make a new one.
I'll retract the motion.
Okay, Merlin, the motion has been retracted,
I'll withdraw my second.
and I'm looking for a motion to accept resolution 5073 with the addition, with the change from 7 copies to 10 and a digital copy provided.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. I will have Shanna read the motion back.
To approve case 5073 with the correction of 10 copies and a digital copy.
Any further discussion?
I received these last night in the mail. There's no reason that we can't be made aware of this stuff before the night before the meeting.
I mailed them on Friday after our meeting.
I can't help that.
Well, I can't help that our meeting was on Thursday and there was changes and I had to mail them. What?
Well, we have
Well, maybe we need to be notified between the first and second reading.
Is there any further discussion?
Now, are the minutes wrong? Or the agendas wrong? These are the right numbers?
I believe I asked first.
5073 and 5074 are the numbers.
All we're talking about right now is 5073.
And the other one is 5074?
Correct. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion. Shannon read it back to us in a second. Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about aye?
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Next item is resolution 5074.
Resolution 5074 is to amend the zoning ordinance, chapter 4, special provisions under number 4, temporary use permits. Under 5, they want to add A, sand and gravel pit, see number 4 above regarding public hearings. I, the following provisions shall apply specifically to sand pits utilized for fracking and oil production. Number 1, bond fee is $2,000 per acre, and proof of such bond must be filed with the land administrator prior to mining and forfeitable if the area is not restored to its original or better condition for a period not to exceed 5 years from the conclusion of mining operations. Number 2, during mining operations, a maximum of 40 hours is allowed to be disturbed.
40 acres.
Or 40 acres, not including sediment pond, prep plant location, and road up from mining area to prep plant. A maximum distance of 150 feet is allowed to the face of the cut of the mine land. Mining and prep plant operations are to stop when sustained winds are in excess of 40 miles an hour and gusts up to 58 miles per hour. Reclamation is to follow mining operation to maintain no less than 40% of reclaimed land before extending pit to new area. Reclamation is to include but not limited to the following. A, all rocks that would interfere with proper tillage and seeding must be picked. B, all trees and limbs disturbed by mining shall be cleared and removed. C, all areas shall be seeded with guidelines from Soil Conservation Office. D, all areas should have compost such as straw or cover crimped into soil. E, slope shall be no less than 4-to-1 ratio where mine land ties back into virgin ground. F, riprap material such as rock needs to be in watershed areas disturbed by mining. G, topographical maps and mining plan must be presented with the application. Number 2, MSDS sheets for all chemicals, including in the plant process, shall be filed with the land use administrator prior to use. 3, existing wells within a 1-mile radius must be tested by a third party at applicant's expense. Reports relating thereto must be filed with the land use administrator and the applicable state agency. All wells will be tested for quality and quantity. Number 4, weeds shall be controlled during mining and shall be a condition of bond release. Number 5, all garbage and refuse shall be stored in dumpster and removed by a licensed hauler to Mercer County landfill. Number 6, site is subject to inspection at any time by land use administrator. Number 7, air quality report, quarterly samples taken as required to the state health department to be filed with land use administrator. Number 8, dust suppressant shall include areas at pit as well as all roads pertaining to gravel and or sand operation. Number 9, photos of the current condition of the property must be filed with the land use administrator. Number 10, water. A, when water table will be disturbed during mining ground monitoring, wells must be in place before mining operation begins, with reports by a third party at applicant's expense filed with land use administrator and the applicable state agency. B, all water used in production shall be metered and submitted in quarterly report filed with land use administrator. C, watershed is to be contained in active mining area with pond capacity to contain a 100-year flood. D, water is permitted to flow naturally in permit area that is not currently being mined. E, water and processing plant shall be contained in clay-lined pit containing no less than 3 feet of clay along with liner or substitute with concrete pit only. F, this application shall meet the requirements of the Mercer County Water Board. Was that the, and 11, no living quarters shall be constructed on site. 1 recreational vehicle is permitted for temporary employee quarters, or any sanitation related thereto will be disposed of off-site by a licensed hauler. But I think that those were already on there, weren't they?
The water board one we added.
Yeah, but the 11 through 15 we had on there before.
Yes. Okay, is there anything in there about subject to approval of highway department road access? I don't recall covering that discussion.
No, and that I actually have noted in regards to the dust suppressant, number 8, I would add that we do dust suppressant and then add in there, applicant shall obtain haul road agreement with highway department, because that's included within that discussion there. I mean, the dust suppressant's included in the haul road maintenance.
I have a question for you.
Second, please. Can you hold your question for a second? I'm gonna go back to Jessica here. How did you state that applicant must be, how? 'Cause
It
that
would
was-
be, number 8 would be dust suppression.
Right.
Okay, so you could start by saying the applicant shall obtain or execute a haul road agreement with the highway superintendent to include dust suppressant. Dust suppressant shall include area at pit as well as roads pertaining to gravel and sand.
Okay. Does that address, my question was, subject to approval of the highway, are they gonna get approached to attach to Highway 12 or 20? That's what my question was. How are they gonna get, in order, before they can, we would accept this, they have to get permission from the state to make an approach off the highway. And so mine is different than the suppressant
Well,
part.
it's 2 issues, because
Right.
the haul road maintenance agreement would be for the county, and you could include in there, you could.
It is subject to that, but I don't know if
Well-
we need to have it stated in there.
But I'm thinking, because we're talking generally, not specific, about any one particular
Right,
thing.
yep.
So, the applicant shall obtain,
Approach permit.
Isn't that a,
Would that be part of their application process?
we
Instead
usually
of-
make it subject to, because we usually include it in the permit, because then they can do
Right.
that after the fact.
So that
'Cause
wouldn't be part of the ordinance then?
the dust, a lot of times the DOT won't even deal with them until they've got the permit. So, right, you're right that we always have it in there. It's not specific within this, though.
Great, it doesn't need to be in the ordinance, and that's probably why. We can include it with condition on the application. Okay, so,
Although it wouldn't hurt to have that referenced in here.
That's right.
That the applicant will be responsible for obtaining any,
access to highway?
Wouldn't it be,
Proving-
wouldn't
yeah.
it be like approach permit?
well, unless, yeah, but DOT or, right,
Because like you were mentioning, the state is kind of loose on that, where the county is pretty restrictive, you know, it's gonna meet these standards or.
let me, this is one of them things I need to write out, hold on.
And I have a question about that, Jessica. Do we have any control roads that are built on private property?
Probably
the
not really.
answer's going to be yes. As long as we start, we're gonna finish it. Yep. Jessica, is it okay, we have a few more items for her to read?
Yeah,
While
let her
you're-
keep reading.
All right, I won't interrupt you. Okay, we have a few more items on this ordinance that Cindy's going to continue with.
Okay, number 11, no living quarters shall be constructed on site. 1 recreational vehicle is permitted for temporary employee quarters. Any sanitation related thereto will be disposed of off-site by a licensed hauler. Number 12, applicable to frac sand operation located within 1 mile radius of existing dwelling. A, processing plant locations must be located outside a half-mile radius of existing occupied dwelling. And B, mining operation must not be within a quarter mile of existing occupied dwelling. Number 13, air monitor location shall be located between each occupied dwelling and processing plant, and readings must be obtained 3 times daily. Example 10, 1, and 4. All readings must be submitted to the land use administrator weekly. 14, no engine braking allowed. Signs shall be posted on road when truck traffic is within vicinity of occupied dwelling. Number 15, the occupant shall be subject to comply with any new regulations that may come to bear as a result of any new information gained to protect against potential silicosis, threat to groundwater, or any other potential threat to our community that may arise as a result of permitted mine. Number 16, the applicant shall be responsible for all costs incurred by Mercer County for enforcement of this temporary use permit.
Thank you. Go back to the part, number 8, we're gonna address that first.
Okay, what I would propose is it reads, number 8, the applicant shall obtain all applicable approval for access to the area to include a haul road access agreement with the highway superintendent. Such agreement shall include dust suppressant, and then, no, I got it written down, I'll give it to you. And then dust suppressant shall include, and finish with that. So I would add 2 sentences to the beginning. You want me to?
No, the people that are online, were you able to hear that?
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask Jessica to, if she would, please come over closer to the phone. She's got some wording she wants to add in 2 areas.
Okay, it would be on paragraph 8, that it would now read, the applicant shall obtain all applicable approval for access to the area to include a haul road access agreement with the highway superintendent. Such agreement shall include dust suppressant, and then dust suppressant shall include areas at pit as well as all roads pertaining to gravel and or sand operation.
Do you want to also read does that cover the road access?
Yeah, that would cover, because dust suppressant road access
talked
are
about
kind of in, yeah, so that way it's all incorporated in one.
Were you able to hear that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Merlin.
I'm just wondering, with the wording on that, that just pertains to county roads, right? It wouldn't pertain to state roads, right, Jessica?
No, it says all applicable approval for access to include the county. So if it's state, if it's city, federal, whatever it might be, but it specifically references our haul road agreement.
It covers all of them, Merlin.
Thank you.
For the people who are online listening, were you able to understand that?
Some of it, not all of it.
This is Jared Young, yes.
Identify yourself, please. Jared?
Yeah, this is Jared
David
Young with
Lundstrom.
Asgard Resources.
Okay, did you hear what Jessica said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Then I have, as it relates to, do you want me just to move over to me? Hey, everybody, it's Jess. I'm next going to section 15. It says the applicant shall be subject to comply with any new regulations that come to bear as a result of any new information. That provision, I don't think that complies with North Dakota law for non-conforming uses. Under 1133.13, any new resolutions grandfather in the former uses unless they are abandoned for 2 years. And so to that respect, I think number 15 needs to be stricken. And as it relates to number 16, the costs, I think that should be stricken as well. If we end up in any enforcement and potentially civil litigation or anything, those damages and whatnot are part of that civil suit. Any costs, so to speak, as far as Cindy, myself, or any other, anybody else involved, that's routine to administration of this. But when we get to, it says enforcement, there's a whole chapter of enforcement in the zoning ordinances, there's a lot of different things that can happen. We'll only be entitled to damages if there's actual litigation. And so I would recommend we strike 15 and 16.
Jess, why don't you just stay there? I got some questions too.
You want a chair?
One of my questions is also under 8, what about roads on private property?
What about them?
Do we have any jurisdiction over them roads as far as dust control?
Potentially here, yes, because we talk about dust suppressant at the mine area and access routes. Now, that obviously wouldn't relate to our haul road maintenance agreement. That would be a specific zoning condition. And again, as it relates to all of these, this is very specific. I want to remind you guys that when we get into violations and enforcement, number one, we try to bring people into compliance. And so just because there might be one day where there was a wind gust at 60 miles an hour and they didn't immediately shut down, isn't gonna mean immediate shutdown of the plant.
Right.
And so some of this stuff, incredibly detailed, just remember, when we go to practical application, it's gonna be Cindy, she's not gonna be out there checking rocks necessarily for reclamation. So some of these things, just keep that in mind. And so as it relates to that, that would be a zoning violation, not covered by our haul road maintenance agreement, but because of the dust suppressant overall, yes. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Number E, under 3, slopes to be no less than 4.1 ratio. Shouldn't that say no more? I mean, which was steeper? A 3-to-1 is, well, Dwayne? Huh?
3-to-1 is steeper.
So we do want no less.
Yeah.
It says no less than 4-to-1.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. On number 2, the maximum of 40 acres disturbed during, not including, is that the same as our other? I thought it was 20 acres. As far as how much land can be disturbed when they're mining?
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying as it relates to number 15. That one's already approved and governed by the regulations thereof.
Right.
Yep, and so going forward, everybody else will have to comply with this. And
That's
I can't recall right off,
I just want to make sure it's the same.
I thought it was more than.
I thought it was 40 because they were looking at 20 mining, 20 reclamation, right? Total of 40, I thought? Anybody?
I just want to make sure it's the same as what their acreage was.
Let me ask you this, Dwight. Is it necessary that it has to be the same? They were underneath the ordinances that were effective that time. Now
No,
anything going forward would be a new.
What I'm getting at is I don't want to make the ordinance any different than what we've already allowed.
But it is different.
A lot of this is.
For the acreage?
Not just that, there's a lot of differences in this.
Well, I realize that, but that is one thing that would pertain to all frac sand mines, is how many acres are uncovered.
See what you're saying?
Do you want us to double check? My memory to that was that they were thinking they could be mining 20 and reclaiming 20
Okay,
at the same time.
okay.
I think it was total 40. She's gonna double check.
I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that,
But I think that's why it went with maximum 40 here, because of the anticipated mining and reclamation going on at the same time. And that would allow them to figure out their plan as they went.
While she's looking that up, do you have any other points?
yes. On the last page, number 13, I think that should be, instead of 10, 1, and 4, it should be whenever in operation.
Thank you. I failed to mention that one as well. The 3 times daily, you'll notice in there in that parenthesis, I changed it to EG, which means for example. Initially, they had it in there set at that time. I think that's problematic as well. So that means example, not set.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I wouldn't want to set a specific
Right.
time either.
The original draft cause I helped Cindy get this incorporated into the chapter, I didn't change anything that they had put in. And in the original draft, it just had it in that parentheses, so we clarified that it's the example time.
And,
And you could strike that if you want, but
the radius for setbacks or the mileage, A and B, that was changed from original recommendations?
that was, well, I don't remember.
I don't recall that being changed, but I don't.
Well,
I
because
haven't
the
remembered
mining
it.
operation within a quarter mile, I know there had been discussion of that being, make sure it's a flattering picture. I know there was discussion about it being a half a mile. There was also, so they distinguished between the processing plant and the mining, and changed it for one to the half, to the other to the quarter. So there was a lot of discussion about that. I don't recall what the one that was granted was exactly, but that was the final, was to distinguish between the mining and the processing and make it a little bit closer on the mining for the occupied dwelling.
I think the haul roads, which one, A or B, or haul roads gonna be covered under processing plant or mining operation?
Well, that's why it'd be its own provision under number 8, because dust suppressant shall include pits as well as all roads pertaining to gravel or sand, so it'll be the whole.
But is that, in, which one of the setbacks includes haul roads? That's my question.
The setbacks under,
For haul roads,
are you talking about 12 though, the processing plant mining operation?
yeah, 12A and B, which one, you know, we got a setback for the mining operation and for the processing. What about getting it from the finished product to the highway? There's a setback there too, and that's not included.
Actually, there's 120 acres.
Shall not exceed, yeah, okay.
There's
100,
120 acres.
120 acres?
not exceed 120, and it must have been 1660, I don't remember. Well, that would be part of the mining operation,
The haul roads would be.
yeah.
Okay.
So there can't be a haul road within a quarter mile of an existing occupied dwelling?
That would be part of the mining operation. Now, and again, recall that some of this stuff, if the board, depending on the specific application, they may change that. So if you have somebody within that dwelling that doesn't object, or it's their own owner, that would be something for the board to take up. This would be the general provision.
I guess the only other question I have is, I lost it now. I think that I was up till almost 11 o'clock last night making people aware of this. I would like to table this case 57-4 until such time as people that have concerns can attend the hearing.
Is that a motion to make?
That is in the form of a motion. This teleconferencing is not the way to do business. Oh, well, I know what the other thing was. The moratorium at planning and zoning was put in place on frac sand mines until there was an ordinance, correct?
Not to exceed 6 months.
Okay, so
And that's,
if
I was
we
just
adopt
asking
this
Cindy,
huh?
I was just asking Cindy, when did that get approved?
Yeah.
When did that application go through? Do you have the dates on there?
Oh, the one for the-
Part of what was discussed at planning and zoning is if these ordinances are approved, the moratorium will be lifted.
Right.
Yep.
But not to exceed.
That was
6.
that's where I was going, that if we approve this ordinance, the moratorium is no longer in effect.
Yeah. When was Providence? It was that time frame.
This one?
I don't think it was. I don't think this was the same time.
Wasn't it the next month though? Yes, I think it was maybe March. 'Cause we were looking-
We're
within that 6 months though, is what I was wanting to double check.
Yeah, but it's not gonna go 6 months if we approve this ordinance.
Correct. I just wanna make sure we're still within it though.
We've made a lot of changes today, and I know there's a number of people on there that would like to say something, and they're not able to.
I believe, I have that we discussed the moratorium on March 18th, so it probably would have happened the night, or like either the next day or sometime.
So we're good yet within that,
July,
yeah,
August.
so September.
You got till September.
I wasn't worried about the timeline to 6 months. This is gonna shorten it considerably if we approve this ordinance.
Right, and that had kind of been the intention was,
Yep.
so that they knew that we're moving on it and that we could finalize it when we're ready, partly because COVID was just starting to blow up then.
Yep.
So but we're good within that time frame.
What's your motion, Dwight?
I want to table this
5074?
case 5074 until at which time people or residents with concerns can express their concerns at the meeting.
Tabled until public.
Open meeting available?
Until public, okay, in-person meetings.
Public input, or whatever you want to call it.
You know, we're gonna wait, let Shannon read it back to you. It's your motion, so we want it in your words.
Like
Thank
to
you,
table
Jessica.
Case 5074 until at which time concerned residents can attend hearing for public input.
Dwight, did you hear that?
Yep,
Is that agreeable?
yep.
I will do we have a second? Do we have a second? I will second that motion. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak. This is David Lundstrom.
Give me a second, please, David.
I don't see how these
David, please give me a moment.
really qualify
This is
as
the one
an
you want.
open public meeting when we can't tell who's speaking, can't understand half of what's being said. So I think this idea of tabling until we can actually be there, see who's talking, understand what's being said, and put in whatever input we'd like to, I think this is a good idea, and I think you should do it.
Thank you, David.
Hartman, and I agree with David too.
Is that Mrs. Lundstrom?
This is Stacy Hartman, and I also agree to table this because I have some concerns and I can't hear correctly over the phone. There's a lot of things I've missed. I don't understand. So I'd rather be there in person.
Thank you. Dwight, do you have any discussion? And if you do, please come over to the mic.
Yes, this is not going to be very long affair because we're going to talk about COVID-19 today. And I'm going to suggest we open the courthouse back up. So-
That's irrelevant to what we're talking about right now.
No, it's part of the discussion.
No, it's not. Not until we get to that area on the agenda.
You want to add any other comments why it's important that we wait, Dwight?
No, we've heard from the people that are on the phone. I think that's the way we should do business. I do believe that there was input on this ordinance that I don't agree with from other parties.
As part of discussion, I have to also agree with Dwight and the people who called in. I would like to have this more open for people to be in attendance and to hear what is being said. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
We have a motion by Dwight, seconded. Be no further discussion. Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. Wayne?
I'm vote aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next thing is appeals changes from 2019 equalization.
Yes, I had Cindy put that on the agenda. I want to remove all obsolescence, or direct Cindy to notify the parcel owner on 03, got it, Shanna? 03 -147-86-00-34-801. I would like to instruct Cindy to notify, proper notification to this parcel owner for next year's tax equalization meeting.
I don't know what that means. Have Cindy notify parcel owner to next year's tax equalization meeting?
Yep.
What is that?
For reevaluation or?
To remove the 25% obsolescence for access, lack of access. And I will put that in the form of a motion.
So you're just removing one, not the whole page?
Just that one parcel.
Do you guys remember this page from last tax equalization
Yep.
meeting? Does everybody though? Vanguard had come in and the board had made a motion to change the values down the 1.2 million, and you made a motion on the whole sheet to accept it.
I recall that.
So,
We can change or direct our assessor to change valuations for a number of reasons.
Has a right to make a motion. So please read the motion back, Shanna.
to have Cindy notify parcel owner 031478600348001 for next year for tax equalization meeting to remove the 25% obsolescence for the lack of access.
When you say next year, were you talking 2021?
Yes.
Please put that instead of next year. Is there a second? It's just a notification. It's no decision.
Nope. He's still,
This-
they can still appeal.
Yep, it can be discussed. So
Yep.
actually, you're just asking her to make a notification. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Why
Go
don't we
ahead.
start, oh, go ahead.
I have a parcel that did get an obsolescence last year too. It's up at Lake Shore Estates, and as soon as the water board proceeds with their diversion project and drainage tile in that area, I will be more than happy to have that obsolescence removed.
Any further discussion?
Why are we just picking on this one?
I explained that. We can change these anytime we want, and the reason of possible lack of access, I do not believe is true.
So do they have access or don't they have access? In other words,
They do.
they do.
I'm not picking on anybody, Dwayne.
Well, it appears to me that this is, we didn't take a look at, I know you explained yours on this sheet, but there are other ones here that I think.
And we can direct Cindy to check any of them. Any of them that we feel are not correct.
So at this time, you're just looking at the one, and we can look at the other ones as we deem necessary, right?
I should should I have waited till the meeting instead of now?
It's not doesn't relate to this year's
Okay.
at all. My confusion
Okay.
comes from the acceptance of this last year. So is there new information presented from the time that this was approved?
The information given was not correct or true.
Well,
Okay.
The information given to Vanguard was not, I'm not gonna say it's, no, I'm just gonna say it's not correct.
You just basically asking it for it to be reconsidered, right?
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? Being no further discussion, Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Dwayne?
No.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay. This township mileage, that's the road department, right? Okay, Ken, are you still here?
Do we have to talk about that township mileage?
We got
It's on the agenda.
quote for right-of-way tree removal, township mileage certification, and Mark's legal approach. Got three things.
What
Oh,
was the first one?
it's under road issues.
Yeah, that I deleted. Quote for right-of-way tree removal.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the quote for right-of-way tree removal. That would be up in, is that Lake Shore?
Nope.
What is it?
County
It says
road.
County Road 7.
Yep, Mercer County Road 7. Ken should be on there.
Okay.
Yep, I'm on here.
Can you help us out with that quote, please?
The quote is from T&M Tree Service. It's to remove 5 cottonwood trees. They're overhanging County Road 7, south of County Road 14, down by Duane Shores. There's a power line on the west side of the road, and the trees are too big for us to handle safely. Met with him a couple weeks ago, and the quote was for $4,500. He's got a bucket truck, a bucket truck, and we'd have a side dump down there. We're going to help him with the branches and that once he lifts them into the bucket truck and whatever else. But they do need to come out down there in the inslope. And like I say, they're overhanging, and when air seeders go by and combines, and our motivators are hanging down into the right of way, and then there's actually on the top of the road, and one of them's about ready to, it's broken where it's going to fall down. It's anchored up there by another tree, but
Where was that at?
we get a good windstorm, it's going to come down and then block County Road 7 on that portion.
Was it down there by,
Does it include the stump removal?
No,
was it by Schwartz that's down there?
but he'll cut them off as
Seven.
close as he can, and it's
Yeah.
a steeper inslope there, so I don't think there'll be much of a problem. So.
Could you have Ken explain, repeat where it's at,
Yeah.
the location?
Ken, please give us a specific location.
South of Golden Valley, almost to the county line with Morton County. It's down by Duane Shores, County Road 7, south of County 14, about a mile.
Yeah, been there.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep.
What was the amount? Oh, sorry.
4,500.
4,500.
Ken, the portion of the stump that's remaining, is that a hazard if someone went in the ditch there?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm not very experienced in this. Wayne, what's the situation as far as the stump removal? What?
Well, I would suggest to definitely remove the stump if all possible, or any stumps there, just for the fact of liability to us here as
Exactly.
the board or Mercer County. So is that included in that?
No, he said it's not.
Ask Ken if the county, if the road department can get rid of this, can dig out the stumps with their backhoe.
Or the front end loader or something?
Ken, can you remove the stump? We want the stump removed. We want to know if you can do that portion.
Possibly. They're pretty big trees.
Well, it's got to go one way or the other, so what's your recommendation?
Yeah, they gotta go.
Well, the biggest thing now is to get them trees out of the actual top of the road and off the deal. And like I say, the inslope is deep enough there. I'm not too worried about the stumps for now. We just got to get the trees down.
Yeah, I understand we want to get the trees down. We also want to get stumps removed, so.
Well, I can ask for a quote for that. I don't know which guy does that or not, he probably does,
Oh,
but I never got a
Wait,
quote for that.
don't, we can rent a stump grinder from
He's got a stump grinder, T&M
T&M?
does,
Yeah.
but then,
Yeah, I can get a quote for him and see what he says for those trees, but.
Is that the guy from Centertown?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
is that, then it's probably gonna go over 5,000, Jessica, is that, do we have to put it out on bids if it's over 5,000? Okay.
Do we have a motion to proceed or to table until we get another estimate? What's your guys' thoughts?
Well.
I'll make a motion to direct Ken to go ahead and have the trees removed. And just, that's good enough for now, then we'll do the stumps.
We'll do the stump later.
Okay, we have a motion to proceed with T&M's proposal of 4,500 to remove the trees. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman. Wayne Enzi.
Shanna, will you read the motion back to us, please?
To direct Ken to go ahead and have the trees removed.
Is there any further discussion?
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I'm glad he finally, or where to locate. We've had issues with those things for several years, and they should have been out of there for several years, because he's absolutely right. They hang in very close to the road or onto the road, and then the other part is, anybody that happens to hit the ditch, it's not a good day, okay? So, this is a blessing to see.
Any further discussion?
Is there any,
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
Ken, you have these dollars in your budget, correct? Yes. Very good.
Dwight?
is there any opposition from anybody? I mean,
No.
we owe the taxpayers the right to voice their opinion if they oppose.
Anybody listening, do you oppose?
It's an encroachment.
Yeah, it's a liability.
We have a motion and a second. There be no further discussion. If there be none, Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed.
Now I will make a motion to have Ken explore options for removing the stumps, whether T&M grinds them or we can dig them out.
I'm not sure that we even need a motion. We can just recommend that, can't we? That should be fine.
Well, he'll,
All right, certification.
Township mileage certification is done every 2 years. It's through the state treasurer's office. It's the roads that we maintain within the county, and we have a full 644.25 miles.
How much?
How many miles?
644.25.
What is a certification?
You just certify that
It's
that's
the actual,
miles
Oh.
to take care of.
the road miles that we maintain within the county,
Okay.
including section line.
Now,
So blacktop and our
this was
numbered roads,
township miles, right?
county gravel.
You need to sign the certification, so I don't
Yep.
have it.
Ken? I've been advised this certification needs to be signed.
Yep.
Yes, on the back page by you, the chair.
Yeah, I don't have he hasn't given me the certification. He has to fill it out.
Ken, I don't have you have to fill out the certification, get it to Shanna, and then I will sign it. So,
We can approve it
Okay.
today, but
we can
Yeah, we
approve.
can have you guys approve it, and then we can sign
Yep.
it tomorrow, or they, okay. We sent it over, but
Okay, we're going to.
thought we did.
Do we have a motion to approve the mileage certification of 644.25 miles per Ken Miller.
I'll make that
So moved,
motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Dwight made the motion, Merlin, I'll write you down as second. And I'll wait for Shannon to read it back to us.
To approve the township mileage certification in the amount of 644.25 miles.
Per Ken Miller, because it's this voice. Is there any further discussion? There will be no further discussion. Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
I vote aye, motion passed. I think it's break time, right?
No.
Oh, we want to do one more. Well, let's
Can-
go on to one more thing. I got.
Can we take a break?
Well, we
Couple
got a
minutes.
public hearing at 10:30.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have time for much of a
We
break.
won't have time. Yeah.
Don't forget, we need to recess.
No, I seen that, that's where I saw that. So we ain't, it's 10:30 is 1 minute, we're gonna have
40 seconds.
40 seconds. Next thing on our agenda is our board equalization public hearing, and that will start in just a few seconds.
Marvin?
Go ahead, sir.
Rachel's gonna email that over to Gwen, so then you could sign it today over there. That copy for that road certification.
Got it, thank you.
All right, you bet.
We have got a little bit of time. Ken told me yesterday, this is a road issue. Our Challenger tractor went down. I told him it's gonna be about a $15,000 repair bill. I told him to explore the option of trading the Challenger in and leasing another tractor. It's got 5,000 hours on it.
You know what happened?
Try to keep that in your mind, we'll probably cover it in the portfolio also. Okay, it's 10:30, we're going to talk about the board equalization public hearing.
We need a motion.
Oh, you need to close it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Close the regular
Recess.
meeting.
Need a
Mr.
motion to close our regular meeting?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second. Second,
I got Merlin said second.
okay.
Any further discussion on closing the regular meeting? Wayne?
I vote aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
I vote aye, motion passed. Okay. Go ahead, Cindy.
North Dakota law requires the assessor's office to uniformly and fairly value all parcels of land and buildings for tax purposes. I am responsible for the values on the rural properties, and I also review and approve all the cities except for Beulah, which has their own certified assessor. The State Board of Equalization reviews all sales within the county and analyzes those sales against the assessed values on the property. They in turn send us a report showing what our percentage is, so we know where we need to be in order to be in compliance. The state requires us to be between 90 and 100% of market value per Century Code 570227.1. This year, Beulah sales ratio was at 94.24. There was no change. Hazen's was at 100.9, so they were reduced to 95.49. Stanton's was at 104.4. They were reduced to 96.88. ZAP sales ratio was 91.63. There was no change. Pick Cities was at 96.39. There was no change. And Golden Valley was at 94.55, and there was no change. The overall sales ratio is 96.5. And if you look at the second page that I just handed you out, between Hazen and Stanton going down and all the redemptions we had last year, even with my new assessing, it took our total county down $365,239. So their horse sales and all the redemptions knocked out all my new assessing.
Explain to me the total county reduction of 365.
Okay, So when you see here on,
No, I understand how you got the number. What does that mean as far to the county? Is that,
Assessment.
that's just
That's
the
the
true
true
and,
and
true
full.
and full value, so then you take that times 0.50 and then times 0.09,
So
and that'll give you the,
so that's just our true and value assessment, value went down that much.
and just my part, that doesn't have any of her centrally assessed stuff in there. That's just the values on all the properties.
Cindy, on what
But
is your basis when you do this, that Hazen's went to 95.49 and Stanton's went to 96.88? What's your basis?
See, now I can't, that's on Vanguard, and however they do their map factor, they can't get it to a specific percent.
No, I mean, why would one city be different than the other?
Because of however their map factor is, like I said,
Okay.
we can't just go plug in 95% and we all go to that. I wish we could, but.
Well, I was just wondering
Yeah,
if
not
it's
like I
based
just
on,
say, oh, no, you're gonna pay more, it's just a computer program does it that way and I can't get it.
I'm guessing it's based on number of homes for sale or how many were sold?
Right, that's all based on sales, right.
Right, and then of course the computer program can't get everybody to say 96%.
Well, I realize that. I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
just a memory refresher, Cindy, when do we get our final taxable valuation for the county?
After
Okay.
the August 11th meeting is when they'll certify all of ours at the state level.
Very good, thank you.
Do we need a motion to accept this report?
You might, it's a public hearing, you might wanna hear from the
Yeah.
public, and then any action has to be taken back in the regular meeting.
Thank you. Anybody from the public that want to comment on what Cindy explained to us? One more time, anybody from the public that wants to comment on what was just explained to us? Is there any further discussion by our board? If there be no further discussion, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I got Merlin to close the public hearing. Do you have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on closing the public hearing? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
I vote aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed. Okay, regular meeting is back in session. I need a motion to open it back up, right?
No.
We just to close it. Okay, regular meeting is back in session. We just received a report from Cindy on the Board of Equalization. We had a public hearing. There wasn't any comment from the public. And I'm looking for a motion to accept or deny Cindy's report.
Just to accept the
Mr.
values.
Chairman, I move to accept.
The valuation.
Hey, Merlin, I just said the report, it should say the valuations of her report.
Yeah, the 10,
Right.
2020 valuations, everything. Right. For each city, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think if they make a
Well, I
motion
think
to
you can
accept
make
your
a motion
2020
to accept the whole-
valuations,
It
cover
would
all
be,
that.
yeah,
It
this,
would cover all of it,
Right.
the cities and counties.
all valuations submitted by Cindy.
On this-
Adopt, yeah,
On this date.
right.
Okay, I'll let Shanna finish writing and read it back to us. We're looking for a motion.
To accept all valuations presented by Cindy. Sorry?
Yep,
On
and
this
then in
date.
the minutes, put those, yep.
Looking for a motion to accept all valuations presented by Cindy on
June 3rd.
June 3rd, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I'll do that again. I am so moved.
Do we have a second?
second that, Mr. Chairman.
Shanna, read the motion, please.
Merlin moved to accept all valuations presented by Cindy on 6/3/2020.
Yep.
For the county board.
Is there any further discussion?
Cindy, whenever you bring these to us, would you please date them?
Sure.
If there be no further discussion, Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a break scheduled for 11. Do we want to have a break now?
Please.
Let's have a break.
How long?
7-minute break.
7?
8.
Wayne made a motion for 8.
Who knows? Shanna, you can't lay it up too long in 8 minutes. Watch me, right? Watch me. What a girl.
Be red ashes this long, right? I had a crew one time was sloughing off and hiding in a building.
Yeah.
And I went in there and there was a cigarette standing on its butt.
Oh, no.
And it had burned down, and this much ashes were standing up it. And they said, well, you know, we just got here, Schwer, what's your problem? I said, I'd like you to light me another cigarette, please. He said, what for? I said, I want you to stand beside that other one and see how long. Never mind, you'll get to work. I said, yeah, you will. Go on. But he had that evidence sitting right in front of him.
Well,
Probably took him 20 minutes for that thing to burn down, and the ashes were standing straight up.
you remember,
candle. Yeah.
you remember the day, Marta, when Prince Albert, right?
Yep, yep,
Yeah. Father-in-law. There wasn't a t-shirt, there wasn't a shirt that he ever wore that didn't have a burned out, you know. God, the worst is, you know, them old guys that go driving down the road, you know, and all of a sudden they got hot, and they're sitting there whacking that out, thinking they're not paying any attention where they're driving, you know.
I had a friend of mine, he said, I got drunk and fell out of my pickup. I said, how'd you do that? He said, well, I dropped my cigarette. I said, what? Yeah, he said, I dropped my cigarette. It fell down by the door, so I opened the door and I rolled up. I said, God dang it. He said, I ain't the worst part. I said, what's that? He said, I was driving. Big a fool.
Oh, not a good day, right?
Well, he quit drinking as a drinker.
Make sure that company.
6 minutes so far.
We are kind of blue.
Yeah. No, it's only been 5 minutes. I got 2 minutes yet.
Well, I'll bet you Shannon lit one up on both sides and it's going like this, two little vermins.
So Dad, you decided to venture out today,
Yeah, I'll risk it. Oh, the teleconference, trying to take minutes, over by telephone call.
It's okay, it's okay, it's not by that mic, you know?
Well, just, I mean, I could always catch, Ballard and Merlin from the teleconference, their voices I could always hear, but the others here, so my notes are kind of incomplete.
Well, that's all right.
I don't think I'm forgetting.
We're glad to see you back.
I don't think our individual speakers are going on to that video, because Darby said.
I don't think so either.
She can hear when we make a motion and when we vote, but the conversation, discussion.
I
can't
think
hear
when I
hardly
do
anything.
hear you other guys, it's because you're speaking loud enough that that's picking you up.
Yep, I don't think
Well,
these
that's
are,
just it. I was thinking about this yesterday. That should be placed directly under a speaker. That should, the phone should be.
no, but Shanna, Darby just said she can't hear our
Because
discussion.
your voice is coming out of that hole over there, and the phone's way down here.
But I mean, even on the video, she's watching the video and she can't hear our discussions.
How's she watching the video?
Well, she said she's watching, she's listening to
The
it.
phone conference.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they can't hear any of the
Okay,
discussions.
7 minutes are up. Let's call our meeting back to order, please. Next on the agenda, Jim, are you online?
Wait, no.
Oh, it's 10:40. Well, I'm sorry, Jim, it is not 11:15. I can move on to another subject here.
Other business.
Okay. Can't do taxes, approval and posting of minutes. On approval of posting of minutes, I wanna talk about the May 6th minutes. Were those sent out and
Yep.
posted?
They should be published in the paper tomorrow.
Did they include all the
Yep,
corrections?
yep.
Okay. That's all I had. Well, there's one other thing here.
I would like to say something about these minutes.
Go ahead.
This situation has got to change. I'm gonna make a motion that our auditor gets a hold of a tape recorder and the minutes, the draft of the minutes is sent to the commissioners the day of the meeting.
I don't have time to type on the day of the meeting.
And the reason being,
Because I have work to do.
well, I'll tell you what, Shanna, you better be here till 4 o'clock if you're that busy.
I am.
No, you're
And I come
not.
to
No, you're
work at
not.
6:30 in the
Don't even
morning.
go there. Don't even go there. Okay, I'll give you 2 days. We can't wait a week and a half and try and remember what was in the minutes.
I usually have them done by the Friday of
This week.
the meeting, of the week of the meeting, is when I have them done.
Is that acceptable to you, Dwayne?
Hmm?
We have the meeting on Wednesday. She usually has them done by Friday, the same week of the meeting.
We
It's 2
better,
days.
I want to see the draft on my email by that Friday.
Okay. Can we receive the draft Friday night?
Yep.
In our email? Thank you.
And I still am strongly suggesting the recorder.
One other thing I did hand out today, I'm sorry, you done, Dwight?
Yep.
Okay, I did hand out a order of business, and part of that is my error. When I read this order of business, and I glanced through this stuff before, but I never caught everything. I am supposed to be signing the minutes of the previous meeting every time at this meeting. I have not been doing that. I'm not sure why it wasn't brought to my attention. It doesn't matter. It's my responsibility. And I'll take ownership for that.
So when did you sign the minutes?
I never have signed them since I became a chairman.
Oh, really?
And I looked up on the website, and it says official minutes, Chairman Marvin Schwer, but it's a printed document. So anyhow,
Okay.
I'm taking ownership for that mistake.
Well,
And I asked Shanna to provide me a copy of all the minutes since I became chairman. I'm going to take those home and compare them for what was in the paper and for our corrections. And I'll bring them back and sign them in front of this commission meeting, at our next commission meeting, if that's acceptable to you guys.
I don't think you guys you can't take an official
can't.
record.
Pardon me?
You can't take an official record from the courthouse.
Is it official if I haven't signed it?
Yeah, because it's already been voted on and approved.
I can't take a copy of
Well,
a,
you can take copies of them.
yeah, that's all I need.
Okay, you just can't take the official book.
Right.
right.
Right. Well, I didn't plan on taking the official, but no way, I wouldn't do that, because then I wouldn't sleep at night, I'd be worried I'd lose it. So, I want copies of the minutes since I became chairman, and I need to get those signed. I just want you guys to read that order of business. I provided that, so that takes care of what I had under, we got these two darn deals here.
Where,
Approval-
Mr. Chairman,
approval-
where's that order of business located at?
I will have to get you a copy. It's Century Code 1111-36. And 37.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've covered that here. Financial software report. We've got to 11 o'clock. Financial software report. We asked on March 4th to receive a financial software report, and Shannon provided it. And then we discussed it again at a meeting. She brought it April 15th to our commission meeting. We discussed it then. I believe it's missing a couple things. One is that we talked about Tyler Tech. Did we ever have a contract with them, and for how much? And go ahead, Shannon.
We had a contract with them, and then we broke the contract with them, and I looked through our system, we never made a payment to them. What day was that written?
It was 17, and we closed the contract.
I'm gonna have to look into that, because when I pulled the expenditure inquiry, the only Tyler Tech bills that came up were the ones that we paid for the recorder's office.
Okay, and then, okay,
I can go grab I
we're
have the
fine,
contract.
we're fine. All I want to state is on that financial report, we need to do a little bit more investigating. We may be missing some information. That's all I have on that. And we'll bring it up again.
What information are you missing? Look, so I can look for it. Just
That, there's one, well, do you want me to?
Okay, so that check was written, I gotta write this down, Marvin. The check was written when, in 17?
Pay, 2017, we can have that for a little while, but I wanted that.
I just wanna see what the check here.
So we'll update that report. That's all I'm asking, that to be done. Okay, that takes, is there any other discussion on the financial software report? We just need to get that updated.
Have that back. Did you take that certification and you have it stuck in your pile there? You need to sign that.
Let me just set that to the side.
Yeah.
Next item I had on there was budget possibilities. We asked departments to send us letters on what they possibly what, if there's any areas they could probably save some money. And I haven't received any. Have we received any, Shanna?
The county agent called in and he said due to COVID that their travel budget would be down. And then, since they lost Dena Kemet and they're in the hiring process, that salary would also be down until they hired somebody new. Most department heads that came in and talked to me said they didn't see places that they could cut, so.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to make a request, and this is for Shanna. And please provide, you want me to write this down. Please provide an estimated revenue to end of year 2020 and an estimated expense to end of year 2020. A detailed report for our general fund and have it ready for our next commission meeting. And it's just going to be an estimate. We're just going to see where we think that we are. I have prepared one. I'm not going to give the values right now. The numbers that I have look like we need to be a little bit concerned. That's all I have at this time. Go ahead, Merlin.
You know, I think we can fiddle and diddle around here all we want with this stuff, but like other counties are doing, they're instructing their staff to come up with reductions between 5, 10 to 15%. The governor's done the same thing with the state because, you know, you take a look at everything with coal, fracking, sales tax, all of these.
Candy Strand.
The revenues aren't going to be where they're going to be, where we want them to be, I mean. And I think we should probably take a look at maybe instructing our department heads and area departments to take a look at some of these percentages. I don't want to attach one on there right now unless you want me to. I can make the motion to do that. But, you know, we're not going to have money unless we start raising our taxes and our levies, and I don't think there's a lot of appetite to do a lot of that. But our revenues are just not going to be there.
Merlin, I fully agree. And I am quite concerned when I did my analysis. It looks like our general fund will be short by quite a bit. We did send a letter to all the departments asking them for any ways that they saw that they could do so. I have not received anything back. I believe the next step is for Shanna to provide an estimated revenue to end of year and an estimated expense to end of year. And then we'll look at the data and go from there. At this point, it's just a feeling. We need to look at some solid numbers. That's the way I look at it, and that's why I've asked her to do that.
Well, like I said, Mr. Chairman, some of these counties are already giving their department percentages to work with. So, you know, each month and week that goes by, we're going to be skating again at the end and then having to make motions to approve things when we're not fully educated on where we're at with things.
Again, I can't agree with you more. I don't know how we can make a recommendation to the departments until we look at this analysis. And I'm not going to present mine right now because, in fairness to the auditor, I would like her to provide her scenario. And then we'll compare.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Okay, that takes care of I think I covered all of them, didn't I? Which one's left?
Receive financial report.
Receiving of financial reports.
Yep.
I thought I didn't have that one crossed out, but Oh, the only comment I want to make on receiving of financial reports. These are available via email. Now you can receive, I recommend that these commissioners get these 3 reports every single month. One is the Mercer County Detailed Expenditure Report. 2 is a Trial Balance to Date Report. And 3 is the Mercer County Detailed Revenue Report. And I have copies of each of these, and I can give them to Shanna, because there was some confusion. She said she didn't know which ones I was referring to. I recommend the commissioners get these every single month. Now, you can receive them hard mail, or you can receive them email. I receive them email, but I want them to be received as individual files, not all grouped together in one big file, and then you gotta sort through to try to find them. It's not hard to do when you're copying these and sending them out. And also, if you choose to accept them from email, she only has to do it one time, and just copy you guys. Send them to me and copy you guys, it's done. If you choose to do that. So what I'm making a recommendation, pardon me?
I was just gonna ask, is that a recommendation or is that a motion you're making?
I'm gonna continue with my recommendation.
Okay?
I recommend that all the commissioners receive these, and if they are sent email, that they are sent as individual files, and that they are received within 6 days of end of month. That's my recommendation. We can see how this works if you want to. And if you go back and look at that, some of the other information I've given you to in the past, they are required to be sent to us. I'm tired of reading statute or century codes, but if you read 111114-30, it says all financial records shall be sent to us in the manner that we want, when we want, before consideration of the budget. So don't believe I'm asking anything extraordinary. They're very valuable. You take time to analyze them and look at them, they're very helpful. And we're making budget decisions based on information handed to us the day before, or a couple days before, and that's not fair. Well, it may be fair to you guys, but for me, I can't process data that fast. So I'm making a recommendation, and that's all I have. Is there any other discussion?
I will put that recommendation in the form of a motion.
Please state your motion, Dwight.
I was afraid you'd do that.
Want me to read what I wrote
That
down?
the county the commissioners received the budget reports 6 days before month end?
No, after month end.
Huh?
After month end.
After month end?
Which ones?
The financial reports.
Well, there's lots of them, so I'll list these and you tell me if these are the ones you're talking about. Mercer County Detailed Expenditure Report. Trial Balance to Date Report. And the Mercer County Detailed Revenue Report.
Okay.
How do you want them sent?
Email or snail mail?
Per whose request?
Per our request,
Per individual commissioner request?
yes.
Okay, let's be specific, because I want mine email. Okay, state your motion again, please.
I would like to put the recommendation in the form of a motion that we receive The expenditure report, the trial balance report, and the detailed revenue report 6 days after month end. Before 6 days after month end.
Let me finish his motion, then we'll.
I have it written down though,
Oh,
already.
I'm sorry, go ahead, read it. You're right.
To put the recommendation into the form of a motion that the commission receives budget reports 6 days after month end, the Mercer County detailed expenditure report, trial balance to date report, Mercer County revenue report sent per individual commission, sent per
Yeah, individual.
commissioner
commissioners.
request.
Yep. Is that correct, Dwight?
That is correct.
Is there a second? Merlin, did you hear that motion?
Kind of.
You wanna
The
repeat that?
motion was that we receive budget reports, expenditure report, trial balance report, and revenue report 6 days after month end per commissioner's request. Okay, that was the motion. Pardon me?
Okay. So in other words, then it's not gonna be automatically sent to each commissioner, we have to request it from Shanna individually.
No, it will be sent to you automatically per your request. By the sixth day after the month end, you have to tell her whether you want it snail mail or whether you want it email.
Unless a commissioner doesn't want
Unless
it.
you absolutely don't want it, you can tell her no.
Right.
Well, I think we might be best off just leaving it your recommendation right now, like I asked you, you said for right now, a recommendation. I think we should have it recommendation, and then if Shanna's not doing that, I would say at that point, then we'd make the motion to mandate it.
Well, at this point, that was a recommendation, but we received a motion to that effect.
Right.
So now we need to move on the motion.
Who wants them?
Second, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Is there any further discussion?
I would like to have them by email.
Unfortunately, you'll have to send mine snail mail.
Okay, I'm going to ask Jessica's question too. Who wants them? I do. They're very valuable. I think they're important. I don't know how we can make budget decisions without receiving this. And when Shanna gives that revenue report, you'll be able to go back and look at this. Some of the stuff I handed out, some of you guys are kind of surprised about. So is there any further discussion? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
I vote aye. Merlin?
Nay.
Wayne?
I'll vote nay.
Dwight? Or Dwayne? Dwayne?
No.
Motion failed.
But if we request them, we can get them now.
At any point. Yep.
All we need to know.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sir.
I think we still want the documents, and like I said, as you started out here with this recommendation thing, I think we can hopefully trust Shanna into giving us that information as you so outlined if we request it.
I believe she would be glad to do that, but that's up to you to talk to her for. And it will be documented because we discussed it at the meeting. It was one of the topics. We're at 11:08. Okay. Taxes under protest, can we do that in 7 minutes? Okay, we're gonna talk about taxes under protest, please.
I gave them all.
Okay. Oh,
You can use it.
Yep, I presented a letter. As you recall, this was a unique situation, and I'd reached out to the state to get some guidance. None of my colleagues having much input otherwise. So the second letter is the email I had received from the state. Basically, The letters we received are notice letters. Under the statute, you have to follow through with the application. We went through this similar last year. This year, they followed up with a second letter, but it still was not an application for abatement or refund of taxes, which is required. And so to that end, it's now closed. The taxes that were put aside will be dispersed. As noted in the email, and as I agree, what they're discussing and some of the issues raised relate to budgeted items for road maintenance, an issue which could be better handled through the possible special assessment district, but it's not an issue to be raised necessarily through the taxes under protest or process here. So, short version, we're well past the 60 days from when we initially received them to begin with. Second, there was no formal application followed up with, so those monies can be dispersed.
And I've also attached, since Jess referenced it in her letter, the resolution that this board passed back in 15 in regards to special assessment districts. Just for your reference, if anybody asks questions of you on it.
As I see it, Jessica, anybody that has a protest for taxes, it's their obligation to learn the rules for application to get it resolved.
Correct. Certainly, I'm restricted to advising the county about county matters, not private individuals. To that extent as well, specific to the taxes under protest, there was an Attorney General's opinion specifying the treasurer is not obligated to inform or advise people about the process either, so agreed. And I've referenced the special assessment resolution that we had, and in the event I talk to anybody, I would direct them to the State Tax Commissioner's website that has a full guide on it. Those are resources available, and certainly anybody has a right to talk to an attorney that they wish. But to that end, again, the process was not correctly followed. So, and again, we're well past the 60 days anyway, so.
It's their obligation to follow the process, not
Right.
ours.
Right.
The burden's on them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this might not be a whole lot valid to this, but I know we've got a lot of, not a lot, but some requests on these issues in the state, what are my tax dollars doing? Well, I'll tell you what, they're blessed because they got, most of the time, they have pavement from their frontage or from their cabin site, where their cabin site ends. Mercer County's got pavement most of the time of our own pavement going down to the state highway or to another road. So how did that pavement get there and how is that pavement maintained? It didn't just come out of a tree. So, I mean, they kind of say, what are my dollars doing? Well, you're leaving your domain and you're driving on probably a very good road. Not everybody, but most of them are top to the state highway. So I think that's what our dollars are doing.
Okay, we still got 3 minutes till our next item. We can,
So now, as a follow-up, do these people get notified then, or what?
I was gonna talk to Darby after the fact, and we'll include the resolution and whatnot, and one of us will send a letter with the information.
In this here, this? Okay.
Yep.
Maintenance agreement.
okay, we've got a couple of minutes yet there, Jim. Hang on there, buddy. Portfolio updates. So we'll start with Wayne, please.
I gotta think. I believe I'd have nothing to report at the time there, Marv.
Thank you. Merlin, do you have any portfolio updates?
Yep, I sure do.
Go ahead.
Okay. We did have a library meeting last week, and we're going to be starting doing budget on that thing. And we're going to need more money there probably, but Mary Schwer and Barry and I will be getting together before our next library board meeting to take a look at that budget. So maybe by the time we're done with our next commission meeting, we'll have a little further guidance on any leeway, or if we have to do some cutting or whatever it might be. Planning and zoning, we've already done those, so the only other thing I have left is building and grounds, and I think the only thing to discuss with that is our battery backup system type thing, and we got that on the agenda at 11:15, and Jim, if you'll stick around for that, I'd appreciate it too.
Okay. Thanks, Merlin.
You're welcome.
Under portfolio updates for Marv, I have nothing to report at this time. It's 11:15. Jim, we're gonna talk about the battery service contract.
Yep, I'm here.
Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Well, I think Shanna's got it there, right, Shanna?
Yep.
Okay, this is a yearly service agreement, which we probably don't need to have started until October 15th is when our warranty runs out for this unit. With this agreement, if we go ahead and go with this before the warranty runs out, then there will not be any service call needed. See, if you wait till after the warranty lapses, then we more than likely might have a service call for them to check the unit out again. But being it's all checked out now, and if we do this before the warranty runs out, then we'll be good with that. We won't have that extra cost. Just to highlight some things in the service agreement from Snyder Electric, it covers anything that goes wrong. There's no limit on number of visits. You know, let's say something breaks and they have to come fix it, and something breaks a week later, they have to come back. There's no limit on that. Parts, labor, and travel are covered 100%. The only thing it doesn't cover is batteries, of course. When we are in need of batteries, and we do get batteries, we ask them if there's any warranty on batteries, you know, kind of like a car warranty, and the guy told me, yeah, there is. Again, it depends on what type of battery we get. I'm sure there's different levels of quality, just like car batteries. Another thing, we can also have remote monitoring, which can be hooked up to either one of our computers to monitor this, or we can have this company monitor it too. That way, if something alarms and goes wrong, we'll know about it right away. So, I guess that's basically all I can tell you on that part of it. So.
What's the dollar amount for that yearly contract?
$3,056.
What's it cost to replace the batteries?
That was like $7,000.
This service agreement does not cover that, correct?
Correct.
How many visits with that $3,000?
Pardon?
No limit.
Service agreement, how many visits are they obligated to come to?
There's one per year. Unless we have trouble with it, then they come and it's next day service if you have a service agreement.
That's what I was gonna ask, because the front talks about maintenance being normal business hours. Is this something that would go down potentially, that we need
Yes.
immediate response
It's
to?
happened,
So,
just happened before already. Yeah, it can happen anytime.
because then what is it? Because it's the Advantage Ultra, and it talks about, guaranteed on-site response, flexible scheduling options, allow customers to choose the response time that best aligns with their needs, but then the front says maintenance visits are normal business hours. So what if it is emergency visit? And then it says annual maintenance visits, 5 times 8, I don't know what that means, for preventative maintenance.
I think that's the time, Shanna,
Did we
from
You
8
got
to
this
5 is the normal
when you
hours,
got
I
it.
believe.
way back, oh, that was, okay, that's
And I
right.
forgot to make another copy of it.
Okay,
You want me to run and make one?
I would like one if you wouldn't mind, but
Cause the front, like I said, says maintenance visit, so I'm just questioning if it's not a maintenance visit, it's a emergency, is that,
covered.
right?
Did we get a copy of that?
You did, but it was,
It was at a previous meeting.
yes.
Oh, that's why I can't.
You're wondering the cost that they have for an after-hour call, in other
Right.
words, yeah.
Cause the maintenance and stuff is one thing, but.
Yes, but like you said,
When we really need it, is it?
that's today, it's 35 below and a 60-mile-an-hour wind
Cause
and
those
everything.
things don't usually happen
No.
during regular business hours.
No.
Yeah, Murphy gets in there.
Well, is there, I guess the system I'm not familiar with, can there be other issues than just a bad battery?
Absolutely, the motherboard can go bad, electronics typically does go bad, it's what drives it. Let's say it switches from DC, it converts batteries to, it's called inverter, to AC. There's all different, diodes can burn out, there's all kinds of different things, it isn't just batteries. Batteries are the most reliable part, actually.
Probably, yeah.
You know, electronics, it's like anything, it's like, has a mind of its own sometimes. The technology is getting better all the time, and they are fairly reliable, or we wouldn't be buying them, but Wayne's had experience with UPSs, right?
Yep.
I take it that there's money in Jim's budget for this?
That's a lot of money for a service agreement that has holes in it.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this, Dwayne? You've been around systems before that required UPS backup.
Well, we're gonna have to have some kind of an agreement. I know if we can plug the holes here and make it workable for us.
Thank you.
I mean, it's important enough that we can't do without it.
It's critical. Right? Thank you, sir.
I guess from what experience I do have, ours was virtually trouble-free out at the power plant, so.
That's because you weren't an electrician.
Or what?
You weren't an electrician out there maintaining it. Yeah, they are trouble-free, but that was what I had to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we have a copy in front of us now. Jessica, where's that page that you were looking at?
On this, well, on the front, in the very front, it talks about maintenance visits, and this quote are for normal business hours, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Then you flip to the back, it says preventative maintenance, annual maintenance visits, 5 times 8. And then, guaranteed on-site response, it says flexible scheduling options, so that's where my question is.
Exactly.
If it's not regular maintenance, and it's, or are they gonna deem everything regular maintenance? I don't know, those are the questions I see right away here,
Okay,
though.
Jim, let's just say we have an emergency, we have to call a technician. Where does he come from?
The last one came from Iowa.
Okay,
Because it talks about remote monitoring, 24/7 monitoring, real-time alert notification, mitigating risks to system availability. Technical support provides escalation support to address systems issues in a timely and efficient manner. So I'm just wanting to make sure that the flexible scheduling that it talks about applies to 24/7, and the maintenance is the only normal business hours. Do you know, Jim, any on that?
That I don't know 100%, no.
I think we should just clarify that.
yep, we're going to.
I did ask him on let's say, you know, we come to the point which it's gonna come to when we have to replace the Ballard batteries. This last time, we did know that the technician told us we had to shut the unit down completely and kill the power to it in order to do this, which we did. And there's a lot of our equipment does go down when this happens because there's no bypass switch on this. So I did ask them about the times, and we can schedule that for 4 p.m. to avoid any disruptions because keep in mind this unit serves our server our security electronics, all that stuff with our card readers and cameras and all this stuff. And there's some equipment up in dispatch that actually is on this also.
Mr. Chairman,
So,
can we find out what it would cost to install a bypass switch so we wouldn't lose power to all our security electronics?
you're cutting out, I can't understand.
Shannon wanted to know if we could install a bypass switch. And the answer is yes, and possibly we could see what the cost would be to do that, and we wouldn't lose everything.
'Cause that was a lot
Okay,
of
I can
coordination with-
look into it.
Is it?
I can call Bergstrom Electric's the one that originally installed and see what it would take to.
It doesn't cost us anything for them to give us an estimate.
It was a lot of work
Correct.
that day, though. We had to coordinate dispatch with McLean County, and we were down, the system itself wasn't down that long, but then by the time we brought everything back up, it was an hour and a half, 2 hours.
It was like 5 hours before we got that whole process done.
Yeah,
Did that guy come from Iowa when I was here? I
mm,
thought he came from Fargo.
that one, no, that was something different.
Okay. All right, Jim.
Well, it wasn't different, but it was.
Thank you for this information. I'm going to entertain if anybody's willing to make a motion to table this for further review.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to table. We don't have to have this done until prior to October 15th, so we got 60 days or something. So we have a motion and a second to table for further review. Is there any further discussion?
So we're gonna need a quote for the,
That'll be a separate thing.
oh,
The service contract will still do, but we're gonna follow up with Shannon's recommendation. If that's all right.
I take it Bergstrom Electric doesn't offer a service agreement? That we have to go to Iowa?
Schneider's out of Bismarck.
It's Minnesota. This
It's out
one
of
is New
Minnesota,
Hope,
yeah.
Minnesota.
I can't answer that exactly, Dwight, but this is a specialty skill, a very specialty skill. The equipment that they use typically for as electricians for construction aren't trained in this.
Well, that's why I asked. Bergstrom Electric installed it.
They didn't,
It's
they
different.
recommended Schneider Electric to
Okay,
us.
okay, that was my question.
Is there any further discussion? There be no further discussion, we're gonna, Shannon, will you please read the motion?
To table for further review?
You're gonna put in here this table, the service agreement for further review.
Yeah, it'll be in the
Thank you. Yeah.
discussion.
All right, Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne,
Aye.
Dwight,
Aye.
Wayne,
I'll vote aye.
and I vote aye. Motion passed.
Jim, you and I will talk about this to follow up with them to clarify, okay? It's Jess.
Are you still there, Jim?
What's that?
Jessica will work with you to follow up on the wording in here.
Okay, and then, all right.
Okay, now Jim, hang on, don't go away. Shannon made a recommendation, I'd like to follow up on it if the board doesn't object, that we get bids for installing a bypass switch.
Yep.
Okay,
How many quotes do you like?
How many quotes would you like, he said?
I want at least 2. Any other recommendations from anybody?
If we're gonna go with this, this is probably, they should probably be
One of them.
at least made aware of the fact that we plan on having a bypass switch installed to see how that affects our service agreement.
Okay. Would you include this, Shannon, would you include sending these people also? Jim?
Yep.
When you're seeking this estimate for a bypass switch, would you please consider Schneider Electric
Okay,
to include them?
yep,
And part of the question was, are they concerned with us having a bypass switch and how it might affect this UPS?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
Jim, I might have walked us through the process and everything, but did you say how much it would cost for adding battery replacements to our service contract? That they quoted for $3,056 if we wanted a battery replacement or a guarantee on that thing, how much extra that would be?
I didn't check into that, no.
I suppose that depends on what kind of batteries we have in there and whatever, so.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds they're different quality batteries, you know.
Yep. Well, I would think if we got decent batteries, they should be quality enough so they're not gonna go to pot where we need a service contract with that. We'd hope.
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Merlin. It's 11:30. We're going to move on to Extension Service. They are here today. And Craig, when you speak, I'm gonna ask you to, I'll kick back, but when you speak, I want you to come up and speak in up to the phone so that the public can hear you. And so, Craig's here from the Extension Service. He's going to give us an explanation of why he's here today.
Can you ask them to?
Hey, hello, everybody that's online on the phone, please mute your phones. If we can't get the phones muted, we have to shut it down. It's too loud. Thank you. Come on up here.
I'm just going to introduce Jim Gray. He's my district supervisor, so he'll be talking to you a little bit about our plans for the replacement bill
Right up into there.
for Dena Kemet's position. So I'll let Jim speak, and then if you have any questions for me or whatever afterwards, we can sure address them. So.
Well, thanks for coming, Craig.
Thank you. Short one.
Yeah, we all got two.
I got an extra.
There, oh.
Hello, Jim. Good to see you.
Thank you. My name is Jim Gray. I'm the West District Director with NDSU Extension. As many of you know, Dena Kemet, who was our long-serving family and community wellness agent in Mercer County, recently resigned to get a promotion to a district director position. So congratulations to Dena. She's going to be great. She's sharing, she's in the office right across the hall from me, so she's going to be great. The one thing I'd like to visit with the commission about is to assess your interests in refilling this position and sort of gain your input as to whether there's any particular area of like emphasis we should be looking at when we're refilling. I gave you a couple of documents. The back one, which is the color two-sided one, talks about our family and community wellness program. This used to be called Family and Consumer Science. Way back in the day, we used to call these folks home ec agents. They're called Family and Community Wellness Agents now. That's the program area. Really, the most useful part of this document is the backside that talks about the educational programs. And these provide some examples of what family and community wellness agents do. They do educational programs on personal and family finance, on food and nutrition, a lot of food safety work and healthy diets and those types of things. They do a lot of work with children, parents, and families, things we call human development and family science. They do a lot of aging and wellness programs, gerontology programs. Dena focused on these a lot for some of our senior members. Programs like Stepping On, which is to reduce chances of falling by seniors. Caregiving programs. She did a lot of programs with helping people choose their Medicare, coverage and those types of things. Our family community wellness agents also do community and leadership development programs. And of course, all of our agents, regardless of their title, play a role with 4-H. And so this is some example of what family and community wellness programs are out there that our agents could deliver. The first page is just a draft of a position description. It's a standard one for a family and community wellness agent. I basically copied that from a position we recently posted over in McLean County. So really, we're at a point where I could use some input from the county as to whether you support refilling that agent position that Dena Kemet was in. And then if these are the types of duties that you see the greatest need in the county, if we refill it as a family and community wellness agent or some other type of duties.
Well, Jim, you know that I'm fairly new here, but I have worked with Craig and with Dena since I started, and I enjoy the programs that she does and the education that she does and how well she does it. So yes, I am full support of refilling this position, and then we'll ask some more detailed questions how that could occur. As far as which capacity, all of them, but I can't put an emphasis on any particular one because I don't have enough knowledge about specifically each single one. So, but I do support refilling this position.
I also attended several of her events or presentations, and interesting and beneficial, I think, to all of us that were there. So I also support the full magnitude of what the position was doing for the county with senior citizens and so on. And I know she helped Greg a lot with 4-H things, so I support it.
I'll voice the same. I'm very, very supportive of all these. I mean, there's not one of them that sticks out in my mind that needs more attention. I mean, they're all very important to our county.
Yeah, I'll date with that, definitely. And like you said, I don't know if all areas are, but the help to the seniors with that Medicare deal, and then they could call her anytime if some issue came forward. That was just an additional plus that she does. So I think it's going to be a little tough to replace, but drive on.
Merlin, do you have any comments?
Yes, I believe that's the valuable service too, and a lot of good things with it. Thing I'm wondering is if we come push to shove on our budgetary items, where would this position rank on looking at the total picture of the county and what we need? Because I think, everybody's going to need stuff, so we may want to be thinking about that a little bit, but I'm in support of refilling this position at this point.
Okay, so you have our support. Jim, I'd like you to please walk us through briefly, you don't need to get detailed, the process for filling this vacancy and what caliber person that you expect you're going to receive.
Thank you. So in terms of process, the process would start with me doing what's called a request to recruit to my administration. I will tell you right now, NDSU is in what's called a hiring chill. We're not in a hiring freeze. The governor has asked us to prepare a budget for the upcoming legislative session with a 15% budget reduction. And so we're looking at ways to try to get there. In the meantime, the direction we're getting from campus is our agent refilling or any faculty positions are going to be deliberate. That's the word that's used. I think that means we gotta really choose our highest priority programs. And so we have several vacant agent positions across the state. We have a program our process to prioritize and rank them. I would envision that this would be a high priority for me in the West and hopefully with the other district directors. Once we got approval to refill, I would post it online. Normally we leave them open for about 3 weeks. Then we would screen candidates. Normally the district directors or someone from our HR screens the applications, but the interview is done by a local interview committee. I'll be on that committee. Craig Askin will be on that committee. I'd ask one of the county commissioners to play a role on the interview committee. We'll probably get a couple local stakeholders, perhaps a 4-H volunteer, or another member of the Mercer County community that has an interest in these types of programs. We'll interview the folks. We'll choose our top candidate. I'll talk to the county commissioner that's on the interview about what a potential offer should be based on your budget and our budget. Remember, these positions are funded, half the salary comes from NDSU, half comes from Mercer County. We cover the benefit package and the operating budget comes out of the county budget. So we'll finalize an offer, we'll make an offer, and we'll hire them, and we'll get them on board. So we want this to be a transparent process with involvement of the county commission.
This whole process, how long do you expect it would be till the position was filled?
In a normal
Don't need a
time,
long scenario, just,
I would say it's gonna be a few months.
okay,
It's gonna be a few months.
okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Merlin.
and Jim, what do you think the chances might be that with the budget reductions over in SU and across the state here, the chances of you guys asking for more of a percentage for that salary and whatever coming from the county?
I would say the chances of that are gonna be low. We did that a couple of years ago, because we had to. I think our current administration very much wants this to be an equal partnership, like it's been in the past. And so I don't see us trying to alter that funding formula for the near future.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could be so bold, what would help me, if, I know I heard verbally support, if we could have a motion and, on the record in support of refilling this officially from the commission, that'll help me as I push it forward through the process with my folks.
I will make that motion to support hiring, replacing Dena Kemet.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second?
Snooze, you lose, Merlin.
Merlin, Dwayne beat you.
That's okay. He's pretty quick on his feet.
Okay, we have a motion to support replacing Dena Kemet's position, extension agency. Is there any further discussion? Did I word my motion correctly?
Looks good, thank you.
Any further discussion? There being no further discussion, Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
And I vote aye, motion passed.
And thank you very much for your time.
Thank
You're
you, sir.
welcome.
And thank you for your support.
Yep.
We're gonna miss her though.
She's good, but she's good in her current role too, so.
He likes that. She's right across the hall, he says.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet.
Thanks, Craig.
Next thing that we're gonna talk about is sheriff riot involvement.
I would like a memo sent to the sheriff's department just asking what his participation has been in these protests in the nearby cities, if there has been any. And I guess we need that in the form of a motion. I'll make that motion.
I don't see,
Mr. Chairman, is there anybody from the sheriff's department there to fill us in?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't believe there's
We
been
can
any.
probably get one.
I
What?
don't believe there's been any, not obviously represented, but
So, Dwight, if it's right with you, I'd like to leave that as a recommendation that we send a letter to the sheriff asking if there's been any involvement with,
Well, I did talk to one of the deputies, and they don't have the manpower to do that.
I'm sure not.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't have to be in the form of a motion.
Would it be all right if, as a portfolio holder, I asked him and have him bring it back to the next meeting?
Be fine.
Okay, I will answer your question. Okay. Next thing is, we skipped over something a little bit because of the calendar here, or the time deal, but I have a very brief deal. I added Mark Ziegler approach to the agenda. And I went up there this morning to take some pictures, and I got a copy, and everybody received them. After I received these pictures, I had Cindy run them, and she did a really good job. I called Ken and asked him, and he said he has to go back up and see him again. He did talk to him a couple of days ago. And there are some other concerns, but Ken's gonna walk through it with Mr. Ziegler and see what's going on. Mostly all I wanted was that the commissioners to be aware of what's going on. The slope is rather steep. The board fence that Dave Kitson put in appears to be 3 feet into the right of way, so that possibly needs to go back. It's been surveyed and staked. It's just an update, that's all it is, and that's all I have to bring here. And Ken Miller's working with Mark Ziegler on this. It's just an update.
Mr. Chairman, can I get a copy of those pictures you got?
Yes, sir. I can stop by on my way home and I'll give you those pictures.
Very good.
Yeah, I might be able to even email them to you.
Yes, and I can't chew you out, then if you don't swing in.
Yeah. Just make
Just
sure
yell
you-
across the driveway.
Okay, next thing is, we want to do COVID first? All right, there's only two things left. We'll do COVID-19.
Okay, I just want to give the commission a quick update. I submitted yesterday to the OMB reimbursement in the amount of $3,294.56 for all of our COVID-related expenses. This does not cover any time off if somebody was covered under the CARES Act where they needed to stay home with a child because they were school-aged or didn't have daycare. They asked us to withhold all of those requests unless it created overtime in a department, and then the overtime would be counted. They'll look at the funding at the end of the year, and if there's monies left, then we'll be able to put in those requests. Since it was under the $3,300 threshold, Carmen and I did not have to submit any of that to FEMA. So it just went to the OMB at this time and was submitted yesterday. They meet quarterly, so if we have anything that accrues between now and their next quarterly meeting, we'll be asked to submit again for reimbursement. And then one other thing, emails have been going about between the auditors, and it looks like most counties are opening to the public June 15th, which is Monday. Not next Monday, the Monday after election,
It's before our next meeting.
before our next meeting.
Okay, let's stick to the expenses part first, if that's okay. You said it covered all COVID expenses. Does that include labor, or is it just for material items?
That was just for PPE, safety gear, the election drop box we had to put out.
Do we have an idea what it cost us for labor due to COVID that was not normal?
No, and I don't know if that would be included or
It
not.
probably is. I just want to know, it's a budgetary concern for us, so.
Right, but I don't think it created any overtime. I'm almost positive it didn't create any overtime.
Okay.
And it also included the conference calls for this line, because we're paying 2 cents a minute for everybody that calls in. And then the sheriffs, between the sheriffs and the clerk of courts, they had to order supplies and pagers for court.
What was the number again?
$3,294.56.
Is there any further questions about the expenses thus far? Okay, now if you guys would like, Shanna offered another idea, and I definitely want that discussed. It was what I had written down. I would like to entertain, if anybody has a motion to open the courthouse to the public again.
I'll make that motion,
Effective when?
effective June 15th.
Can I chime in here with the court schedule? You'll recall our first court date is gonna be June 24th, under which we have to implement significant screening protocols and stuff. So to that end, I would request that we, June 25th, so we can get through that first court date, because we've got a significant docket, and having regular public interject in that is gonna complicate it, and with this being our first run, I would request that, we get through that first.
Aren't they, wouldn't they be considered two different issues?
No, 'cause if you
Jessica,
open it-
because we already passed, adopted?
No, that only allows the court proceedings to continue this month. What you would be doing would be opening it entirely to the public, so on that day, we could have regular public and court. And so I'm requesting that it stay restricted to court participants until the 25th, so that we can get through that first court day. Because there's gonna, like I said, we're working with the judge on the screening protocols, all of that, and so just to ensure that we can get through that first day.
Okay, the reason I want to open the courthouse is for commissioner meetings. So we get what people's concerns, can hear them and everything else. So could we allow just opening the courthouse to the public for commissioner meetings at this time?
Because like Dan, he asked if he could come, and it's by appointment, so he made an appointment essentially to be here. I feel,
I mean, if there is a concern, we have a county nurse, we have a jail nurse, we could screen people for the commissioner meeting if there's a concern.
That's all you guys. I'm concerned about complying with the court.
I know.
On the
I know.
24th, so whatever you guys wanna do, but if you wanna open, the commission meeting on the 17th, and then leave the rest of that motion, so you'd be amending your prior motion to include opening the courthouse?
No, I'll rescind it.
No, I mean the original one way back when. to
Oh,
open June
oh,
1st.
oh, okay.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to break this into two parts. I look for a motion to open the courthouse for commission meetings effective immediately.
Mr. Chairman,
Then we'll address Jessica's on a separate issue.
That would, cause then it's restricted to commission meetings, so otherwise we'll keep the doors shut by appointment only.
Right.
So yeah, if you just do
Right.
that, that'll even affect the other motion.
Okay.
Now, perhaps then the first meeting in July, we'll look to do something more, but at least
Okay.
we could get through one commission meeting, one round of court
And then move on.
before we, yeah.
because we have a previous motion that reads that we're remaining closed except for participants instead scheduled court hearings. So that would leave people to only come to commission meetings and only come to court hearings.
Right.
And the rest of it would be closed.
Okay, so, still entertaining, if anybody wants to make a motion that we open the courthouse for commission meetings.
I don't know, I think Marlin was trying.
Go ahead, Merlin, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I would make that motion with the addition to it that we follow CDC and North Dakota Smart Restart guidelines. And that should take care of it when everything like that changes, then we follow.
We still have that from before.
We still would have the social distancing. Are we gonna require masks? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, good.
What it would be is we have the distancing and the, also the amount of people that we can have in there.
Well, if you recall, way at the beginning of this thing, you guys adopted a general motion to comply, so that's still in effect. So that will allow us to adapt as it has been. So really, all we would continue with that, and really all we need is to open it for the public on the 17th.
For a commission meeting.
Yeah, and it'll still be in compliance with CDC, because you already adopted that.
I will
Otherwise,
make,
if people wanna come and see you guys, do they still call and make an appointment or whatever, and then you let them in?
Correct.
That's correct? Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
I will make a motion that we open the courthouse
we got 2
to the
minutes.
public for the next commissioner meeting, and it will be reevaluated the first meeting in July. Oh, you gotta include in there that we will follow
Yeah, there's only
the
X amount.
CDC guidelines for
Right.
social distancing.
Well, we
and-
already made that motion back in
Okay,
March, so
okay.
we're still under that, yep.
And you can only allow so many in here, right?
Right?
I'll second that.
I want that motion read back to me.
To open the courthouse to the public for the next commission meeting and reevaluate the first meeting in July.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Shanna, could you notify people of that?
It'll be on the agenda.
No, put it on the website so they can,
Yeah.
I object to the motion because it says that we're open for the 17th, but we're not opening for the first meeting in July when we're gonna reevaluate it. Why don't we just have them, we're not open both times. So that's why I would object to the motion at this time. Why don't we just open it to
Open
all
commission
commission
meetings.
meetings? It's open from commission meetings effective
Immediately.
immediately. And then we can still do the evaluation in July about opening the court.
Sure.
The way it's motioned right now, we're only opening for one meeting at a time.
Right, so then, if you're saying commencing the next meeting, the courthouse will be open for commission meetings.
Yes,
And then in July, we can figure out the other days of the week from court and commission.
be
Or
another
fully-
motion for
fully
that.
open.
Yeah, we're just talking about commission
Mr.
meetings.
Chairman, I think that was my motion in the first place, wasn't it?
I'll rescind my motion.
Merlin did have a motion to open the open
I
commission
think
meetings
my
to the public
motion said that
effective
in the first
immediately.
place.
That would cover it. There we go.
Cover it.
Okay, Merlin, we're going, Shanna's gonna read your motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
To open commission meetings to the public effective immediately, and then he added following all CDC guidelines in North Dakota Smart Restart.
Okay,
Yep.
do we have a second to Merlin's motion?
I second that.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Merlin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dwayne?
Aye.
Dwight?
Aye.
Wayne?
I'll vote aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sir.
just wondering, and Jeff, are we going to have any screening protocols with that, or just open the gate?
Are we what?
Meeting.
Screening protocol or open the gates? Right now, it's following CDC guidelines. That's what we put in the motion. If we want to put something else, we need another motion.
That should pretty well cover it.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else under COVID-19? No, I'd like to add for our agenda next meeting that we cover opening for court day, so we get that subject discussed.
Opening to
Open
the public,
Jessica says we want to open up to the public after the first court day.
so we want that on the first meeting in July.
And
On the
COVID
agen-
again,
Yeah, COVID-19 on the next,
yeah.
On the next agenda? 'Cause
yes.
We will get through one meeting and we'll get through one court date, so COVID-19 on the next meeting. Or on
You
the
don't have
first,
court yet.
no, not the next meeting, you mean July 1st, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the last thing that's left, oh no. Resolution of employee evaluations. Is that this sheet here?
Yep.
That's the old one. That's the one that was rescinded. I'm I'm gonna make a motion that we adopt a resolution that all department heads, appointed department heads, be evaluated once a year by the all the commission.
Don't we already have that? Isn't it in our policy that department heads will be done? We talked about this 2 meetings ago, and Jessica.
By individual commissioners.
No, it was mentioned that be done by portfolio holders, and as I recall, Jessica said, no, one commissioner can't act as that person. You all have to do it as a whole. I thought
Mr.
that's what
Chairman?
was discussed. Go ahead, Merlin.
I think it's great that we say, well, let's have evaluations going on and whatever, that's perfect. The thing is, we don't really have a decent process for that. You know, I think if we're gonna have a process for it, you need to have those job descriptions, including what our expectations are. We put together an assessment document with all areas of job description and expectations in it. And then I would suggest that, once that's done, it goes to, the department head or whatever, and, he or she would fill that out with what they feel they've got. And then I would say that the portfolio holder would sit down with that person and go through that thing. And then it would go to every commissioner to take a look at. And, then the whole commission would make a decision, yes, this person is meeting the goals and expectations of the job or not. And if not, then maybe an improvement plan might be necessary. You know, we need to have a process. We can't just say, well, let's do evaluations and not have any real direction to go. You know, that's kind of like taking the map and not having a destination to get to. At least that's my thought.
I think you had that wrong. It's like having a destination without a map. But
Mr. Chairman, I would agree with that. In looking at this, it's seemingly simple on the face and yet not in application. And that is, I agree with Merlin on that, of the how exactly. Across the board, the counties are incredibly varied on this. Most don't have any specific process. Some do go back to the department head. And so it is, in looking at the resolution that we had before, we did implement some dates, but exactly how we do this is not clear. So I would echo what Chairman Dahl, or Commissioner Dahl was saying, that we need to explore this because we've not done this before, and he's right, job descriptions, I'm not sure if they're there. So I agree with him on that.
Merlin, would you be willing to prepare a proposed process and bring it to the next meeting?
Yes, I will.
How do the other board members feel about that?
Yes, and the other part I think was a little bit fuzzy was the, actually was the evaluation itself sheet. I know McLean's been doing this for a long time and has, well, pretty decent sheet, I thought, and Merlin worked with social service over there. I don't know if you, but at least that was a pretty general application or evaluation, plus it covered almost every department because they use it for all their departments, so. But that was our big problem too, you know, evaluation sheet.
And there's resources available too beyond that. We had Chuck Horter involved when we reviewed the entire employee manual. Merlin, I'll talk with you. We can look at this too, and I would help and assist in that.
Okay, I'm under the assumption that we have a job description for every department head and every employee in the county.
That's a big assumption.
Assumptions are kind of dangerous, but you can
No.
have that.
We don't.
Well, that's your starting point.
Well, I understand. I suspect that when you walk through this process, you're going to visit with Shanna and Jessica, and you're going to see what is available, and then we're going to go from there.
Okay, just another question for Jessica.
Yep,
Are you there?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay, just wondering now, are our employees the whole work, except for elect ones, at-will employees, or do they have, job retention rights?
At-will employees are job retention.
Well, appointed department heads are at-will employees. As is everybody
And their
else.
employees that are working under them are at-will.
As are the employees.
Everybody is
underneath
at
you,
will, yeah.
Except for the elected officials.
Except for the elected people.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
No,
Because I know now if we do
No
these
contract.
evaluations, are we gonna base that for salary raises or percentages, or is that another can of worms?
That's gonna be part of the deal when it comes time to looking at budget constraints. But let's just keep it to our topic today, which was evaluations. And,
So what you want me to do is give you guys an outline of how we probably should do this,
absolutely,
bring it to the next meeting.
and, yep, and an answer of what information is available and so on. Yes.
Okay, because by the way, this will be my last meeting over here in my cave. I intend on being with you guys from now on. I know you missed me, so.
You're absolutely right. Okay, last thing on the agenda is the budget calendar. Did I miss anything? Okay,
I don't have anything on that.
Shanna gave us a handout for the budget. Is this just for review?
No, that's an agenda. That's on the budget calendar that you guys have approved. We said the 14th, 15th, and 16th were gonna be, the departmental days, and so that's scheduled with all the departments.
Okay,
But Dwight put this on there. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, just that deal about the park boards.
Okay.
We have to come up with some way of notifying the park boards that there is this much money available and they need to approach the commission before our final budget.
I wanna say that I sent park boards a letter after that P and Z.
The resolution, yeah.
Went through, so they are aware of the timelines.
Okay.
But we can put it in the paper or send them another, we probably doesn't need to put it in the paper, but send each park board another letter
Put it
when
on
the time comes that it's open for applications.
Put it on the website.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, no, but-
And I see there's a copy there for me. I can drop that off at Merlin too.
Yes, I have other stuff in the office too.
Last thing on the, well, we got two more portfolio holders to do. Dwight?
Yeah, I've got a number of them. I mentioned the Challenger tractor earlier, the road department. Ken's supposed to be coming up with some different avenues to replace that tractor. The big thing is one part they have on hand, the other one's gotta come from, don't quote me, but I thought he said Europe. And we're not sure if we put one part in, if we're jeopardizing the other part, or somebody holler at me?
I think so.
Right?
Somebody's on there.
Go ahead, who's speaking?
This is Ken.
Go ahead, Ken.
I had visited with Dwight with that tractor. What it is two axle housings. As of yesterday, the one is out. The other one, we have it over at Hazen Farm Implement there. The one side is out. There's actually two sides. Yesterday there was only one that they could find in country, so we thought we could at least get that one. But Dennis talked to Mike over there, and there is two in country, and they're about $3,000 a piece. So in that back axle housing, if you replace one, you should probably replace the other one too. My thoughts are to get those two that are in country, wait until later this year here to see where we're at on the budget, and because we do have that case tractor and we do have that rental John Deere. At least then we would have the parts, because if those two parts go away and we can't get them from Europe until late this fall, we won't have enough mowers for our tractors for our mowing. is my thought.
Plus, this tractor's the one that they use on the blower, cause it's got front PTO.
Front PTO.
So do we have a total?
I do have in the budget to fix the whole thing, but I don't wanna cut myself short towards the, I'll have a better later on here, it's only June, so.
Ken, and that amount is 15,000?
That's what he's expecting right around there if the guy does it all, with the parts and labor.
So what, Ken, this Wayne here,
Just like to get authorization now to get those two parts.
what failed on there?
Ken, Wayne wants to know what failed.
The axle housing in the back on the rear axle.
Axle housings,
It's where the bearings ran in?
I suppose.
It's an unusual part to fail.
Well, yeah.
Well, we can't make a motion out of a portfolio update, so we'll have to add that to the agenda to authorize them to proceed with getting some options for repairing it.
Okay. Ken, can we table this till the next meeting?
No, we'll do it today. We'll add it to the
Well,
agenda.
if we table it till the next meeting, if those parts go, then I'm out until whenever they come in from overseas, and who knows when
Okay.
that's gonna be.
All right. Thank you. Just a sec, we're gonna talk about it here.
I mean, we can at least get one of them, that way, but it's like I say, if you're gonna do the one, you should do the other one, because if that one fails, then you have to start all over again.
Yeah, we got it. Let us do a little visiting here.
All right.
Dwight, I think this is covered underneath the road department. It might have been missed. I don't think we need to modify our agenda.
No.
It's covered in the road department, so we can have a motion to proceed or not, however we choose. Is that okay? Well, do we have a motion to proceed with Ken's recommendation?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Merlin seconded. Any discussion?
Well, it's whatever 2 cents are worth, but we do need to have a mowing tractor, and so, 6,000 is a closer step, and regardless, we'll have that tied up in a rental tractor, so I think this is.
What is the recommendation? Because are we not doing the part from Europe yet? Or?
Well, there's
We,
still,
we have 2 of them in.
they
two of
found
them-
2 of them in state.
In state here,
So pursue those.
yeah.
Ken, matter of record, please state your recommendation.
My recommendation is to able to purchase those 2 axle housings needed to fix that Challenger tractor.
And the cost is approximately how much?
Well, the 2 axle housings are $3,000 a piece, so $6,000.
Okay, that answers my questions.
All right, thank you.
So are we clear on the recommendation then? All right, we have a motion and a second by Merlin to proceed with Ken's recommendation to purchase 2 axle housings, approximate cost $6,000. Did I say that
That's
correct?
for the axle housings, that's not the labor.
Yeah, we know that, yeah.
We got that. Wayne said he can fix it. Okay, so we have a motion to set, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Dwight, how do you vote?
Aye.
Merlin?
Aye.
Wayne?
How about I?
Dwayne?
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passed.
Okay, that covers that one. Fair board meeting, they're not gonna have a full-blown fair, but they want to do something for the public, probably either the last weekend in August or the weekend before. And there was even discussion about a parade. It'll be low-key, probably no carnival, but they plan on having music one night the Shody, or the ranch rodeo. And one day will be dedicated to just showing the
Livestock or?
4-H and FFA showing their animals.
Oh, yeah.
Who would be a good contact?
Vern Mushka is the chairman. That covers the fair board. Water board, well, we talked about that today. Tomorrow I have, I don't know how this happened. I guess I volunteered. I shouldn't say that, but I will be attending a Lewis and Clark Regional Development Group strategic planning tomorrow for the next 10 years.
What?
The plan is a 10-year plan.
Oh, okay.
It'll feel like 10 years.
Anything else, Dwight?
Nope, that's it.
Dwayne?
Landfill, the contractor that did that work out there last year, Unlimited Excavation, went bankrupt. And all of a sudden, they never notified me or Candace or anyone, or the engineer. And they subleased the seeding and mulching to someone. They showed up one day. And anyway, they did the work. But I did meet with Sherwin and Candace.
Yeah, bring the compactor down.
And Sherwin is looking into it. If this stuff doesn't grow, we'll have to look at another approach there, and they might have to take a deduct. There's still $29,000 outstanding on that contract.
Okay, there is a century code that says that we're not to pay over 70% until everything is satisfied and signed off by the county commission, so.
Right.
We're good in that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we did the contract according to the contract, and we withheld the retainage. And that is what the engineer is looking at. And if this isn't suitable to what was supposed to be done, according to the engineer, there will be a deduct, and he'll decide that.
Dwayne?
Yes.
Is that basically what's left is the, the reseeding and?
There was supposed to be some more dirt put on top to a certain elevation before they did this.
Oh,
But I don't know if that's critical to the
to the plan or?
to the plan, but Sherwin is looking
Sherwin,
at
yeah.
everything, and
So
so
there's-
he'll let us know. He'll
Yeah.
come to the commission meeting and let us know what the deal is. And if it doesn't rain, it doesn't grow, then there'll have to be something done to reseed this.
You better do a rain dance.
Mr. Chairman, Dwayne, who took over the contract?
Nobody really took over,
But to finish it.
Unlimited
Yeah.
found somebody to do this.
And earlier, we had a phone call from Newly Huff. I'm wondering if that's what he was on the phone for?
No, he was on for the frac sand.
Okay.
So anyway, that's being sorted out, and Sherwin will do that for us.
Sure.
Well, you're good for challenges, aren't you?
Well, that's what the name of the game here. Ambulance board meeting, the other night, we had that on Zoom. And the next month, or the next meeting will be on the 22nd of this month in Hazen at the ambulance bay. We're going to open that up. So that's according to Dr. Schmidt. He's on the board, and he said we're going to do it in public there. So anyway, unless things change. We also discussed the purchase of a new ambulance, and they're looking into that. And also a loading system for the ambulance. One other thing, we also had a preliminary review of the budget they're gonna submit to the county. That's not finalized yet. And then, last thing is they the ambulance board had applied for an employee payment protection grant, and they did receive $109,000 for that. That was what was figured out to retain the volunteers and the permanent employees. And once the conditions are met, then it'll turn into, they don't have to repay it. So, that's where that's at. Other than that, few issues with the ambulance base, but those are minor. That's it.
Thanks, Dwayne.
I have one correction. It's a 3-year plan, not a 10-year plan.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, Shanna gave us a letter here. Do you want to make any comment on that, or?
No, that's just for you. It's addressed to you. You're on the canvassing board.
Thank you. There's one other item that I want to bring up, and this is for Jessica's attention. This was handed to us just when the meeting started today. And it has to do with Mark Ziegler up on the development up there. And he's advertising some lots for sale. And I'm not sure that, the comments were made is that, I'm not sure that he's zoned for that or not. It doesn't appear to be. And this was on BizMan, so I'm gonna give this to you, and
I've had this come up before and had to send letters to real estate agents or whatever to clarify, so I'll handle this in the same fashion.
and then you report back to us so we get understand what's going on there.
Well, I'll notify him and,
Okay?
yep, I'll take care of it, thanks.
Is there any further business that I didn't include? If there be no further business, the meeting is adjourned.
Wasn't there some item from where providing lunch?
Donuts? Yeah. Donuts.
That's what made you come to the meeting.
Did,
It had to be something.
Oh, I misfired.
We're done early, so.
Mike Esslinger say anything?